Chapter 1413 Insane. Many people sensed the energies and turned their attention to them. They were surprised. Not only had Lin Feng killed the fifth prince, now he was making things difficult for the third prince. Burn. Flames appeared inside Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes. Lin Feng's sword was also emitting strident whistling sounds. He then made the demon fire go to his sword. Apart from demon fire, he also condensed destructive, desolate and death energies into it. Destructive energies can't make things decay. Lin Feng also added immortal abstruse energies. Roar! The third prince shouted furiously. He was surrounded by force as he released dragon energies towards Lin Feng. Slash slash. Lin Feng released his terrifying sword, immediately destroying the dragons. Force oppressed him, making the immortal energies fuse together with the sword even better. Roar, roar, roar. The third prince didn't want to let Lin Feng condense any more energy. His energies turned into a gigantic dragon once more. But this dragon then fused together with his spirit and moved towards Lin Feng. Die! A demon appeared behind Lin Feng. The demon and the sword moved towards the third prince's dragon together. Boom, 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 boom! Explosions sounded and the space around them was completely distorted. Lin Feng's arm, body, blood and spirit were all shaking violently, making him cough blood even. His sword was extremely solid though. It was as if the immortal energies had protected the sword. The sword energies had managed to penetrate the dragon's head. The gigantic dragon was crumbling apart. Roar! The dragon gave one last effort. Die! Shouted Lin Feng. Again his sword and demonic energies dashed to the skies. At the same time, he was staring at his opponent, trying to damage his determination. A song suddenly started resonating in the third prince's brain, and terrifying cursing energies injured the dragon. The sword was now making its way down the dragon's body. That physical body was terrifying, just like a real dragon. Lin Feng's sword could have destroyed anyone, but the third prince's dragon was incredibly resilient. Roar! The gigantic dragon's tail made a swing at Lin Feng. Lin Feng condensed sword energies in his other hand again. Explosions sounded, and the energies released from the collision was overwhelming. No wonder those princes were Tianlong Divine Castle's trump cards. Even though the third prince has only broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer, he can easily kill cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer. Die! The dragon's tail swung again, this time towards Lin Feng's demon. Lin Feng released a deadly demon punch, and the tail collided against it. Although his arm was sore, he didn't flinch. How could a demon king flinch? Arg! Lin Feng's demon king roared furiously. Lin Feng's strength became stronger with it as he continued growing taller. Die! More energies appeared, but those energies hadn't come from the third prince. Lin Feng raised his head and saw someone with a terrifyingly sharp sword aimed at his head. Kill him! Shouted someone furiously. Lin Feng slowed down, like he was trapped in mud. Slash slash! The terrifyingly sharp sword made Lin Feng tremble. That was an assassin's sword. Be careful! Shouted someone to Lin Feng. 2 assassins from the Imperial Assassin Union were joining hands to fight Lin Feng. One of them was a strong cultivator from the Xikong clan. Rise! Explosions and rumbling sounds shook the ground. A gigantic gravestone appeared which then enveloped Lin Feng inside. Mu Bei was trying to help Lin Feng. Break! Shouted the third prince. A gigantic dragon assaulted the gravestone, creating cracks as the sword neared. Desiccation and desolation! Shouted Kukan. Now, Lin Feng was surrounded by desiccation and desolation energies. Sapta Atibuddha Karasaniya. Ban Rua jumped onto a lion. He was holding a lotus in one hand and a sword in the other. You won't have a chance, shouted a voice. The second prince had arrived and was insanely attacking the gravestone. Stop him. Since you want to kill Lin Feng, you'll have to get past me, said Ho Qing Lin. He released sword reincarnation energies. In a flash, a gigantic hole, 10,000 meters wide, appeared and blocked them. What is he doing? Ho Qing Lin is insane. The crowd was crazed. Ho Qing Lin wanted to kill them all at once. Piss off! A strong cultivator from the Devamara Palace was also appearing above Lin Feng. Celestial vision die! Shouted a strong cultivator from the Xikong clan. Lin Feng's vision was suddenly blurry, and the space around him was distorted. Lacerate, a Virokana sword moved towards the strong cultivator with the celestial vision. Tianqi was surrounded by golden lights as he chanted mantras in a clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voice. He reinforced the gravestone, which was protecting Lin Feng. Boom, boom, boom! The third prince was going insane as he attacked the gravestone. More and more cracks began to cover the gravestone. Die! Ho Qing Lin pointed a finger at someone and suddenly, that cultivator was surrounded by reincarnation energies. Die! Shouted Ho Qing Lin furiously. Then that cultivator groaned and suddenly died. Die, die, die! Qing Lin continued releasing reincarnation energies, which surrounded all the strong cultivators. At that moment, the gravestone became surrounded by golden energies. Those energies were actually an oppressive sword qi. Mu Bei could sense it, after all, he had made the gravestone. Brother back, let them try, shouted Mu Bei as he ran back. The others were surprised, but they trusted him, so they also moved back. Let them die, brothers, shouted Mu Bei again. Everybody nodded and released energies. Tianqi's gigantic Buddha moved towards a strong cultivator and crushed him. He died immediately. Tianqi didn't know to which group that cultivator belonged, but it didn't matter. They needed 100 people to die before the round could finish. Chapter 14:14. Fighting against the third prince again. No matter what you try, you'll die eventually, shouted the second prince. Explosions sounded, and the golden gravestone crackled more. At the same time, the third prince and his allies moved towards Lin Feng, who was still hiding in the gravestone. Die! Shouted the third prince. Lin Feng couldn't escape this time. There's a destructive death strength as well, thought the third prince. The hairs on his neck pricked up after he sensed that. Then, he saw a terrifying sword with an incredible amount of death energies. Immortal energy. He has been condensing sword and immortal energies inside, thought the third prince. He stopped attacking the tombstone at that moment. The others looked at Lin Feng just as amazed. They wanted to run away from those incredible energies. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. He jumped out of the tombstone, and a terrifying destructive sword filled with incredible energies invoked a tornado. Explode! Shouted Lin Feng. Ah! No! Shouted some people. The tornado exploded, and those who were weaker immediately died. Roar! The second prince roared. His arm had crashed into the sword tornado as it exploded. Luckily, he had turned into a dragon, so he didn't die from it. The third prince was wounded, but he was still alive. Kill the third prince, shouted someone. Ho Qing Lin quickly released sword reincarnation energies, which crashed onto the third prince. Desiccation and desolation, shouted Ku Qin furiously. Then, the third prince felt his blood drying up. Tianlong also attacked. His mantras resonated in the third prince's head. They weren't giving him any time to react. Save me, shouted the third prince furiously. He was slowly reverting back to his regular body. The second prince ran towards the third prince as fast as he could. The Dragon Crown Prince also wanted to join in, but Ruaxia, Ban Rua, Li Hen, Wu Yong and the others joined hands to block them. Bzzz. Dazzling lights appeared in front of the second prince. Those dazzling lights turned into stars and blocked him. Break! Shouted the second prince. He wanted to destroy the stars, but at the same time, Ho Qing Lin's reincarnation sword crashed onto him. The third prince continued giving horrible shrieks as he was being attacked by all sorts of energies. Lin Feng continued attacking by releasing a dozen deadly demon punches at a time in the third prince's direction. Piss off! The third prince was suffering too much. The pain was unbearable. Some of the deadly demon punches hit his arm, some others in his chest. A hole appeared in his chest, and it was bleeding profusely. Brother! Shouted the second prince furiously, but the star strength still prevented him from moving ahead. Blood curse, said Lin Feng. He jumped above the third prince and condensed a sword filled with death energies. Brothers, let's join hands to kill that dragon. We can't give him any time to recover, said Lin Feng. Tianqi, Mu Bei and the others nodded. Lin Feng's death sword continued moving ahead as gigantic stone plates formed, and Tianqi's gigantic Virokana sword threatened third prince together. No! shouted the third prince furiously. He looked desperate as the sword lights and the stone plates crashed into his body. Blood gushed, and then his body exploded. Brother! Shouted the second prince. He continued to break through the starlights. By this time Mo Qing Tian's face was deathly pale. He recalled his celestial book spirit, and the starlights disappeared. Lin Feng! Shouted Emperor Tian Long from the top of his peak. He had lost a son again. The third prince was the one who understood the force of the earth and sky the best. He could have become an emperor soon, but now he was dead because of Lin Feng. 5 princes were dead already. The 5th prince, the 7th prince, the 8th prince and the 9th prince, and now the 3rd prince was dead too. After killing the 3rd prince, Tian Qi and the others turned their attention to the 2nd prince and surrounded him. The Xikong clan, the Church of Desire and the Abyss of Sufferings all have assassins who want to kill me. Very good, thought Lin Feng. He used his agility technique while condensing death and sword energies again. He immediately attacked a cultivator from the Church of Desire and cut him in two. It feels so good to kill, said Ho Qing Lin. His eyes were filled with murder. Reincarnation die. Terrifying reincarnation energies appeared and sealed the area around him. 2 people were killed, immediately drowning into the abyss of reincarnation. Dodge! Shouted a strong cultivator from the Xikong clan furiously. Then, Lin Feng moved towards 2 strong cultivators from the Xikong clan. He had become a giant after fusing with his demonic image. Lin Feng, try if you dare! Shouted a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from the Xikong clan. He then started running towards Lin Feng. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Feng glanced at him with his pitch-black pupils and continued running ahead. Lacerate! Shouted Lin Feng. Then he immediately killed another cultivator. How strong! He was killing those people as if they had been ordinary Zun cultivators. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. He condensed curse energies and cursed the other cultivator. His opponent suddenly stopped moving, and then a sword fell on him. In the air, the cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from the Xikong clan looked upset. He yelled to Lin Feng, "The Xikong clan will definitely kill you." "Brother, kill him," said Lin Feng. That cultivator raised his head and saw Ho Qing Lin's reincarnation soared above him. His facial expression changed drastically at that second. Die! The cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from the Wen clan, against whom he was initially fighting, released abstruse energies and wreaked havoc on his internal organs. "No!" shouted that cultivator furiously. He wanted to escape, but Lin Feng appeared in front of him and smiled coldly. "Even if the Xikong clan kills me, you will not be there to see it." Lin Feng released death and sword energies, easily finishing him off. Lin Feng glanced at the crowd in a cold way. So many people had died already. There would soon be only 100 left. Lin Feng ran towards a cultivator from the Church of Desire. Once he saw Lin Feng, he wanted to escape, but he was overwhelmed by the immortal energies. Lin Feng's desolate Xana quickly cut off his leg. Then he caught up with him and killed him. Lacerate! Lin Feng continued releasing energies, and his sword collided against something extremely hard, something golden. Golden claws. Those golden energies were looming over Lin Feng's head. A great oriental greenfinch rock. Lin Feng joined his hands and attacked the golden energies. The great oriental greenfinch rock moved back and stared at Lin Feng in a cold way. Chapter 14-15. Threat. He thinks he's a supernatural bird. Lin Feng continued running ahead while releasing demonic intent and singing his 9 netherworlds demonic song. Ka! The bird released bestial chi and flapped his wings powerfully. His claws were sharp and dazzling as they moved towards Lin Feng. The great oriental greenfinch rock was very fast. He had only broken through to the 4th Zunqi layer, but he had the speed of a cultivator of the 7th or 8th Zunqi layer. He knew speed abstruse energies, of course. His gold abstruse energies were level 7 as well. Lacerate! Immortal and sword energies whistled furiously, digging into people's ears. A wound appeared on the bird's wings, and some golden blood even dripped. But the bird continued flying towards Lin Feng. Bzzz! Lin Feng dodged back. The wings passed over him by only a few millimeters. They left a golden trail in the air as they passed. The great oriental greenfinch rock is becoming even more terrifying, thought Lin Feng. He released demonic intent and borrowed the force of the earth and sky as he ran towards the bird. I'll kill that supernatural bird, shouted Lin Feng. Lin Feng had swords in both hands. The bird flapped his wings, which again turned into terrifying and dazzling sharp blades. They collided against Lin Feng's death sword with a metallic ringing sound. The great oriental greenfinch rock has some great defenses. I can't use death or sword energies to deal with him. I need to injure his organs internally, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng's demon silhouette appeared, roared furiously, and jumped forwards. Lin Feng then released deadly demon punches at the great oriental greenfinch rock. Lin Feng moved like the wind and appeared above the bird as he was dealing with the punches. He wanted to attack the bird from behind, but the great oriental greenfinch rock slightly descended from the sky. He still hadn't managed to kill him. The great oriental greenfinch rock had great speed and defense. Lin Feng had already killed the cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer, but that bird still remained. Die! Lin Feng sensed a strength from behind him. He joined his hands together and released sharp sword energies behind him. That cultivator's face turned deathly pale as Lin Feng's sword lacerated him. At the same time, many other people were still fighting. Ho Qinglin was fighting like a madman against the cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle. Stop! Shouted Emperor Qi from the top of the Qitian Peak. The great oriental greenfinch rock stopped moving too, glaring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng also recalled his demon energies. Emperor Qi was disappointed. He had made those rules so that the cultivators from Tiantai would die, but in the end they had surprised everyone again. We'll fight again, said the great oriental greenfinch rock to Lin Feng. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously, startling the great oriental greenfinch rock, who suddenly moved back. Lin Feng looked at him mockingly. I wouldn't mind eating some roasted chicken, said Lin Feng. Then, he turned around and walked away, ignoring the bird. The bird was obstinate and unruly, but Lin Feng didn't hate him as much as the cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle or from the Qi clan. Lin Feng went back to his group of friends and looked at Emperor Qi. He looked angry as he announced, all the emperors, you clearly understand who qualified. Only 4 of Tianlong Divine Castle's people were left, the crown prince, and the second prince who were cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. Then the 4th and 6th prince who were cultivators of the 6th Zunqi layer. Lin Feng was still alive, so he was qualified as well. Tiantai had 11 qualified cultivators, which was a lot compared to several other groups. All right, disperse, said Emperor Qi indifferently. Then, he turned around and jumped onto the golden crow, which was pulling his carriage. He didn't want to spend another second there. All the members of the Qi clan had been eliminated, so he had no reason to stay. Disperse. Lin Feng was confused. Was that all? What was the purpose of the meeting of the emperors? Many other people were like Lin Feng. They were wondering what was going on. What was the purpose of the meeting of the emperors? Let's go back, said Ho Qinglin. Then, the cultivators from Tiantai went back to Emperor Yu's side. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Jun Emoshi, Yi Runlei, and all the others he knew. He nodded at them and then left. There were many things he didn't understand, but he was convinced Emperor Yu would tell them everything soon. Lin Feng, you'll definitely die someday, said Emperor Tianlong aggressively. Then, the emperor went back to his dragon carriage and left. No wonder Emperor Tianlong is such a piece of trash. He dares threaten young cultivators openly, said Emperor Yu calmly. This infuriated Emperor Tianlong even more. Let's go back to Tiantai, said Emperor Yu to Tiantai's people. Then, a cloud appeared and everybody jumped on it. Meng Qing and Qiuyu Xian were next to Lin Feng. Apart from the 11 cultivators who had qualified, many of those who were eliminated were still there alive. Emperor, you couldn't talk about the secrets of the meeting of the emperors in front of them. At some point, oppressive black clouds appeared, blocked their way back to Tiantai. Emperor Yu opened his eyes, and the white cloud stopped. Emperor Qi, we haven't made it back to Tiantai yet. If you can't hold back anymore, I don't mind organizing a battle of the emperors, said Emperor Yu. Emperor Qi again, thought the crowd. Emperor Qi was furious because he had lost. Did he want to kill Tiantai's cultivators using terrifying emperor's methods? Hee. I just came to tell you one thing. Amongst the 11 outstanding disciples of Tiantai, I wonder how many will survive in the near future. With that, the cloud turned into a silhouette and disappeared. They couldn't see him, but they had recognized Emperor Qi's voice. He's threatening us, Tiantai's disciples realized. In the future, when you meet people from the Qi clan, just kill them, said Emperor Yu in a calm and serene way. Then, the cloud continued moving forwards. Chapter 14:16. The Magic Gate. A group of people were riding a magnificent cloud in the sky above Tiantai. The teacher and our disciples are back. Many people came back, that must mean they won, thought the people of Tiantai. Not everyone could participate at the meeting of the emperors, so they couldn't wait to hear about the results. Go down, said Emperor Yu indifferently. Those who weren't direct disciples descended from the sky. Meng Qing and Xiu Xian were annoyed because they weren't direct disciples themselves. Teacher, shouted Lin Feng. Emperor Yu knew what Lin Feng was going to ask. He smiled and said, they can stay with you. Thank you, teacher. Lin Feng bowed and smiled. Emperor Yu looked at Tiantai's people and said, the 11 direct disciples were all qualified and had amazed the whole province. I hope that someday, more of you will be able to become direct disciples, and that the people of Ba Huang will know your name as well. I hope that someday you'll reach the clouds. Also, be careful of people from the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle. We understand, said everybody bowing before Emperor Yu, who then nodded back at them. Then, the cloud with the remaining people on it disappeared. What kind of place is the sky above the sky? Is it an empty space castle? Guessed some people. At that moment, Emperor Yu and the others made it to the sky above the sky. It's been a few hundreds of years already, but I don't know when it'll develop, said Emperor Yu, gazing into the distance and smiling indifferently. A few hundreds years? Lin Feng asked. Teacher, is the sky above the sky your small world? Emperor Yu looked at Lin Feng. He looked both wise and calm. He smiled and nodded. Indeed, this is my small world, one of them at least. One of them? Lin Feng repeated. Emperor Yu had taken him for a walk in that small world before. Many people already lived there. If Emperor Yu had created it a few hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years later, it'd probably be incredible. Then what about 10,000 years later? It would be filled with magnificent landscapes. So basically, the Jade Emperor's palace was not a small world. The mysterious world holding it was a small world. The palace is just a symbol of that small world, just like Tiantai is a symbol of the sky above the sky, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng, I told you that after you broke through to the Zunqi layer, I'd give you an opportunity which could change your life. Now you have come back, said Emperor Yu smiling. He didn't hide anything from the others. All the people there, apart from Meng Qing and Xiu Xian, had also benefited from such an opportunity. The fact that Lin Feng was a direct disciple and had dazzled at the meeting of the emperors had something to do with that opportunity. Something that could change my life. Lin Feng was curious. Thank you very much, teacher. All right, you move aside, said Emperor Yu to the others. Lin Feng is already terrifyingly strong and talented. With such an opportunity, he could become even stronger, said Xing Zhan while smiling fatuously. Emperor Yu shook his hand, and a water crystal appeared in the air. Then, it slowly turned into a dazzling gate, which could attract the stars. Emperor Shi and I obtained this treasure previously, but we don't know what it is. It seems like it has its own strength, but it also seems to be able to change people's destiny. It can steal the force of the earth and sky, allowing talented cultivators to improve. Emperor Shi and I rose thanks to it, explained Emperor Yu. Some people say grand talents mature slowly when they talk about us. I don't know if Emperor Shi and I are grand talents who matured slowly, but I know that we've been extremely lucky. To be honest, after leaving Tianqi, I practiced cultivation a lot, and I killed millions of people. But I never stopped. I also participated in the meeting of the emperors and so on. However, I became an emperor only thanks to that item, said Emperor Yu, not hiding anything. Lin Feng, go inside. I hope it'll be as useful for you as it was me, said Emperor Yu smiling. Lin Feng nodded and walked through the gate, into the dazzling lights. BZZ, the disciples couldn't even look at it, it was too dazzling. How strong, said Wu Yong sighing. Lin Feng is extremely talented, said Mo Qing Tian. That treasure could show how talented people were in that the more talented someone was, the more dazzling the gate was. After Lin Feng entered, the gate became incredibly dazzling. Emperor Yu smiled happily. Then, the gate turned into a light and cleansed Lin Feng's body. How pleasant! What kind of terrifying treasure is that? Lin Feng closed his eyes and bathed in the lights. He had an incredible sensation, almost like an orgasm. It felt pleasant all over his body. He had the sensation his bones and flesh were changing, as well as his strength. It was even more efficient than bathing in the thunders. It's changing my physical body, ridding me of my imperfections, thought Lin Feng. No wonder Tiantai's direct disciples were all that strong. Their physical bodies had been changed through this process. To be a strong cultivator, a powerful physical body was essential. If I could constantly absorb these energies, that'd be great, thought Lin Feng. He knew it wasn't possible though. His blood started boiling, and qi was rotating around him rapidly. The treasure was now modifying his blood, improving it. His blood was fusing together with the earth and sky. How incredible, what a perfect feeling. Roar, roar! Dragon heads appeared around Lin Feng. All 9 of them looked ferocious. My spirit is being cleansed too, thought Lin Feng astonished. 3 of the heads were different. There was a gigantic axe, a pair of silver wings and a shadow. His dragon qi was becoming stronger. Xian Yuan's axe was becoming more explosive. The silver wings were becoming more dazzling, and the shadow was becoming even more intangible and silent. Chapter 14:17. A famous song. All the direct disciples were incredible strong, however, after cleansing from those lights, they had all become even more extraordinary, especially their spirits. So much, so that they could even compete with emperor's sons in terms of their spirit strength. At that moment, the lights became even more dazzling as a light descended from the sky. This was the most important part of the process. Lin Feng's soul was going to be cleansed with this. It was going to change his natural abilities. The gate was pulling strength from the earth and sky, and cleansing Lin Feng's body with it. He could clearly sense that his soul was changing. Even his celestial book spirit was diffusing dazzling lights. BZZ. At that moment, the light beam illuminated Lin Feng, but it couldn't pierce through his body and penetrate into his soul. Emperor Yu was surprised how? The gate started shaking and emitting strange sounds. What's going on? Everybody was wondering. The lights dispersed after they met Lin Feng's body. They couldn't change his soul, but why? It hadn't happened like that with them. Recall it, said Muchen suddenly. Emperor Yu shook his hand and recalled the gate. At that moment, Lin Feng opened his eyes. What was going on? He had sensed that the lights wanted to cleanse his celestial book spirit. But when it tried, his celestial book spirit diffused dazzling lights and stopped it. Lin Feng, are you all right? Asked Emperor Yu. His silhouette flickered as ran over to Lin Feng. Gotcha. Lin Feng clenched his fist, emitting loud crackling sounds. He felt so good, so comfortable. He felt perfect. I'm all right, I feel better than all right, said Lin Feng, smiling at Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu looked at the crystal and nodded. Did it have anything to do with Lin Feng's special body? It wouldn't even let the strength of the earth and sky modify it. Emperor Yu didn't ask anything. In the cultivation world, that kind of special body was extremely rare. It was legendary in fact. Back then, Emperor Yu wasn't sure. But now he was starting to believe it was true. You should rest these days next few days or practice cultivation. Don't leave the small world. Emperor Qi and Emperor Tianlong will be looking for you all, especially Lin Feng. When the right time comes, I'll come back to you, said Emperor Yu to the disciples. Then he disappeared. When the right time comes, he'll come back to us, whispered Lin Feng. Muchen smiled and said, Lin Feng, the meeting of the emperors isn't over yet. It's not over yet. Lin Feng was surprised. What was the real purpose of the meeting of the emperors? What was going to happen to the 100 people who had qualified? Lin Feng, how do you feel after having been in those lights? Asked the others. I feel extremely good. I feel a lot stronger. My physical body feels perfect while my spirit became stronger too. Now I can fuse together with the earth and sky even better, replied Lin Feng honestly. He was just annoyed that he hadn't been able to finish the process, but he didn't think about it too much. The stronger the better now that we have many enemies. The Qi clan, Tianlong Divine Castle, the Sikong clan. Even though we killed so many of their people, they still have many strong cultivators, especially the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle, said Mu Bei. Besides, Lin Feng, your cultivation level is too low. You must level up for Emperor Tianlong, and Emperor Qi won't hesitate to kill you if they see you in the future. I know, said Lin Feng nodding. Brother, our sisters are here with you, so spend some time with them. We won't bother you anymore. The days following this reprieve are going to be insane, said Xingzhan. Then they left. Lin Feng shrugged and smiled. Let's go and have a walk around the small world, said Lin Feng, taking Mengqing and Qiu Xian's hands. That small world and the outside world were similar in many ways. There were clouds, trees, lakes, rivers, cities, and cultivation resources. Their teacher was still developing that small world, so everything would be even more lively in the future. One day later, they were in a desolate area riding a white horse. Lin Feng, do you remember the first time I rode a horse? Asked Mengqing. She was sitting in front of Lin Feng while he was holding her. Qiu Xian was behind him, leaning against him. Of course I do. Back then, you almost cried because you were so scared, said Lin Feng, smiling in a resplendent way. He would always remember that day. You did that on purpose, said Mengqing, smiling. Is that so? I don't remember that part, said Lin Feng, smiling fatuously. Mengqing rolled her eyes and turned her head around. Back then, you were holding me and singing songs too. Don't you want to sing a song for Yu Xian now? Lin Feng didn't want to. Oh yes, please, said Qiu Xian, smiling. All right, but don't laugh at me, said Lin Feng, smiling happily. Then he started singing a song, playing the flute, hair fluttering in the wind, drunk, winds rising and clouds scudding, lakes and rivers, resentment. 1,000 miles, a pale light, a smile, calmness and tranquility, tranquil water, 1,000 miles bathing under the moon, growing old together, only the autumn moon knows that. 1,000 miles bathing under the moon, growing old together, only the autumn moon knows that, whispered Mengqing, smiling before adding. Even though you're a really bad singer, the song is not bad. 1,000 miles bathing under the moon, growing old together, only the autumn moon knows that. Mengqing was wondering where that song came from. Qiu Xian hugged Lin Feng even tighter. She didn't want Lin Feng to leave her again. 3 days later, Lin Feng was under a waterfall. His eyes were closed as he was calmly studying that strength. Mengqing and Qiu Xian were playing in the water. Sometimes they would glance over at Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened his eyes and gazed into the distance. His eyes looked sharp, but then he saw the girls and smiled. Lin Feng jumped into the water and hugged Mengqing from behind, startling her. I'm clean already, said Mengqing, pushing Lin Feng away and getting out of the water. Qiu Xian looked at him too, and then turned her head away again. She even blushed. Lin Feng came to her and hugged her. He could feel her heart pounding. Qiu Xian, shouted Lin Feng. Qiu Xian looked at Lin Feng. Her eyes were twinkling. You're really beautiful, said Lin Feng, suddenly kissing her. She also kissed him back passionately. Chapter 14:18. Cosmic Energies. Lin Feng was holding Qiu Xian in his arms. Both of them were resting on a big stone. Qiu Xian was wearing her clothes, but they were soaked and transparent. Lin Feng caressed her skin, her breasts. Qiu Xian moaned, turning Lin Feng on. Lin Feng had become an expert at making love, since he had been with Yiren Lei. He slowly took off her clothes, cherishing the view with each piece. Lin Feng caressed her everywhere. He kissed her lips, then he slowly kissed her everywhere, including her most sensitive spot. Her moans were bewitching. Qiu Xian was shivering with each of Lin Feng's movements. He was moving with more and more passion, but suddenly, a merciless ice-cold energy emerged. Boom! Lin Feng suddenly moved back as an ice-cold hand shot out. Lin Feng came back to his senses. Qiu Yuxian's face was now red from embarrassment. Lin Feng, I'm sorry. Qiu Yuxian shook her head. No problem, said Lin Feng. Qiu Yuxian's facial expression kept changing, one moment cold and the next hot. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and very careful, and put on her clothes again. Lin Feng felt sad for her. But how could he help Qiu Yuxian solve that problem? He knew that Qiu Yuxian was in love with him, which is why she could control her merciless emotions around him somewhat. Let's go into that cave and change your clothes, said Lin Feng while carrying her. Meng Qing looked at them, and then looked at Lin Feng angrily. Lin Feng put Qiu Yuxian on the ground and walked over to Meng Qing, hugging her and saying, Meng Qing, when I become a cultivation emperor, I think we should have a child. What do you think? All right, replied Meng Qing, in a gentle and tender way, lowering her head. Qiu Yuxian was looking at them, but she didn't know what they were talking about. You're still this shy, even though we've been together for so long. Lin Feng was mocking her. Meng Qing blushed even more after. Meng Qing rolled her eyes and Lin Feng smiled. He was becoming more perverted the older he got. After a short time, Qiu Yuxian changed into some new clothes. She had on a new blue dress. Meng Qing Yuxian, I'll bring you to a special place, said Lin Feng, taking out the Jade Emperor's heart. Then, it became gigantic and turned into a palace. There were 2 doors he still hadn't opened. Now that he was so strong, he might be able to open them. But would there be anything good in them? Let's go, said Lin Feng, entering the palace with Qiu Yuxian and Meng Qing. The crowd saw Lin Feng enter, this time with 2 incredibly beautiful women. They used to be Gan Yu's heroes, and Lin Feng was only an ordinary disciple from Tianqi. Lin Feng ignored them as he swallowed an abstruse tablet and chewed it. He brought Meng Qing and Qiu Yuxian to the doors he hadn't opened yet. Wait, I'll break it, said Lin Feng. Then, he used his deadly demon punch to break down one of the doors. Ancient scriptures. Lin Feng was surprised. There was a wooden table with ancient scriptures resting on it. They were surrounded by yellow qi and earth abstruse energies. Let's see what they are. The 3 of them entered the room. Apart from that book, there were marks on the walls. Emperor Yu had also carved such marks in his palace, back in Tiantai. Lin Feng looked at the book, and suddenly felt like he was in a vast area. The ground beneath him was dusty, and the area was filled with abstruse energies. After a short time, Lin Feng recalled his godly awareness and whispered, That's the first step of the book. Each step teaches cultivators about different territories. The Jade Emperor made that page to teach cultivators about Earth territories. Meng Qing Qiu Yuxian inspected the book, said Lin Feng. Even if they didn't practice the powers taught in those books, they could still learn something from them. Lin Feng looked at the walls and analyzed them. The incredible gate could steal the strength of the earth and sky to cleanse my body, spirit and soul. It also helped strengthen my relationship with the earth and sky. If I could understand how that works, I'd be even further ahead, thought Lin Feng. The Jade Emperor understood earth abstruse energies, so he had probably used them to create this palace. If my fire abstruse energies become cosmic energies, I could actually burn the earth and sky's energies, thought Lin Feng. He was starting to understand more thanks to the Jade Emperor's teachings. No wonder people who hadn't become cultivation emperors were still like insects. Emperors could use cosmic energies to reign over the earth and sky. But if I fought against someone as strong as them, and was able to condense cosmic energies, I'd need to create my own spells, skills and techniques still. I'd have to rely on my own special abilities, thought Lin Feng. He recalled when Emperor Yu saved Meng Qing. He had condensed the strength of the earth and the sky to an incredible degree. He concluded from that if a cultivator didn't understand the strength of the earth and sky, they couldn't learn to use cosmic energies. No wonder his emperors had attached so much importance to the strength of the earth and sky. Emperor Yu and Emperor Shi had probably used the strength of the earth and sky to create the flight of stairs in Tiantai. Cosmic energies required high-level abstruse energies before they could be used to fuse together with the earth and sky. Understanding 10 types of abstruse energies is indeed incredible. It's like having a special kind of body. If I could level up all my abstruse energies to their highest degree, I'd be able to master so many types of cosmic energies. Thought Lin Feng. If he managed to make his death abstruse energy become death cosmic energy, it'd be horrifying. He'd be able to make people grow old instantly and die, unless his opponent's cosmic energies were of the same level. Lin Feng stopped studying and turned around. Then he said to Meng Qing and Xiaoyu Xian, some powerful scriptures can help cultivators understand cosmic energies. Without these ancient scriptures, it must be difficult to become a cultivation emperor. Chapter 14:19. Fighting against Emperor Yu. Let's go to the other door. Lin Feng took the ancient imperial scriptures with him. He wasn't as surprised to find imperial scriptures anymore, because he had found several already before. If it was anyone besides him, they'd be furious at Lin Feng's reactions. Many cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer only dreamt of having imperial scriptures. Lin Feng arrived in front of the last door and broke it down with sword energies. Even though that room had been sealed for many, many years, it was still clean inside. There was no dust and the walls were still shiny. Poor Jade Emperor. He hid so little that the door was even weaker than the previous one. The ancient scriptures were probably his most cherished treasures. Thought Lin Feng, glancing around the room. There were 3 dazzling items, but Lin Feng didn't sense the chi of any imperial weapons. There was an armor set resting on a statue. It looked domineering and imposing, like it contained cosmic energy. It was more powerful than ordinary Peerless holy weapons, because it contained cosmic energies. Lin Feng's cultivation level was too low, so he couldn't understand those weapons very well. Not all emperors had imperial weapons, but it was similar to when people had just broken through to the Zunqi layer. They didn't necessarily have holy weapons either. Imperial weapons were precious treasures. It was difficult to obtain imperial weapons. Emperors had to be lucky. Apart from the armor, there was a gigantic axe filled with a terrifying strength. Lin Feng was surprised because that axe contained pure strength and nothing else. It wasn't even sharp. The last item was a helmet. The Jade Emperor's helmet. That's the Jade Emperor's helmet. Lin Feng smiled at Meng Qing and Xiaoyu Xian while adding, those 3 weapons seem to contain cosmic energies. I want that axe. Meng Qing, Yu Xian, you too can choose one of the weapons as well. Give the helmet to Yu Xian, but the armor is not suitable for me. Lin Feng, you should take it, said Meng Qing. No, Peerless holy weapons are better than ordinary weapons. You can make them fuse together with your flesh, so how couldn't it suit you? Yu Xian, you can take the Jade Emperor's helmet. Meng Qing, you must take the armor, said Lin Feng. So take my high-level holy armor then, said Meng Qing. I don't need it. I have an empty space robe. It's a Peerless holy weapon as well, so just keep both of them, said Lin Feng. He walked to the axe and slowly raised it up. It was very heavy, at least 1 million kilos. It could decimate mountains, or kill a low-level Zoom cultivator in one strike. Take your holy weapons and let's go. We still have to see if there are any suitable holy marks to practice cultivation. Then we can leave and modify those weapons. Lin Feng and the girls went back to one of the other rooms where carvings lined the wall. Last time, Lin Feng hadn't spent much time studying them. Those holy marks contain the strength of the earth and sky. Once you're an emperor, you can carve them yourself. Even Yendi can do that, whispered Lin Feng. I can use other abstruse energies to replace the earth abstruse energies. I just need to activate the marks, thought Lin Feng, sitting down cross-legged. When he had the strength of the Tianqi layer, he came to study the holy marks of the mysterious world. But he needed to be stronger before he could benefit from them. Now he was a lot stronger. 7 days later, Lin Feng was sitting cross-legged in front of the waterfall in Emperor Yu's small world. He was calmly studying something while Meng Qing and Xiaoyu Xian were in the distance practicing cultivation. Lin Feng was releasing empty space energies as his godly awareness turned into threads and moved towards the empty space energies. Caw! In the sky a bird passed. Lin Feng opened his eyes and rose up in the air. Constriction! The space around the bird became distorted. Then, it turned into dazzling marks as 1,000 threads of empty space abstruse energy formed a cage. I'm too slow. If it were the great rock, I wouldn't be able to imprison him with that speed, whispered Lin Feng. Those holy marks were challenging, but Lin Feng wanted to control cosmic energies. Lin Feng freed the bird. Then he continued studying the holy marks. Lin Feng realized that when the holy marks became almost as powerful as cosmic energies, they fused together with the earth and sky even better. Lin Feng, said a voice. Lin Feng opened his eyes and saw Emperor Yu ahead of him. Teacher, said Lin Feng smiling. Lin Feng, I came to see you because I want you to see some people. I just saw you studying holy marks. What a coincidence, said Emperor Yu smiling. Teacher, when abstruse energies change, they become cosmic energies. Are holy marks a form of cosmic energy? Asked Lin Feng. Emperor Yu was a bit surprised as he said, I initially wanted to tell you about cosmic energies, but now you already know about them. Great minds think alike. The 10,000 things of creation exist because of the same thing. Holy marks exist thanks to the strength of the earth and sky, and abstruse energies. You just have to make them fuse together. So every emperor is a kind of magician who can create holy marks, thought Lin Feng. Of course, first, you need to understand the strength of the earth and sky. Only then will you be able to understand cosmic energies. Emperors use the strength of the earth and sky all the time. Of course, when you become an emperor, you'll understand how scary and explosive attacks can be. Lin Feng nodded and asked, Teacher, how many sorts of cosmic energy do you understand? Earth cosmic energy, replied Emperor Yu calmly. Teacher, can you show me some cosmic strength? Asked Lin Feng. All right, replied Emperor Yu. He was happy to see Lin Feng so enthused. Attack me using your most powerful attack. All right. Lin Feng nodded. Suddenly, Qi blotted out the sky as he was surrounded by sword intent. Then he condensed death energies into his sword energy, and a pitch-black light flew towards Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu remained calm though. He stretched out his fingers and moved them a little bit. The strength of the earth and sky turned into yellow earth, seemingly indestructible. The death and sword energies couldn't pierce through that strength. Imprison, said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng was suddenly trapped in an earthen cage. Emperor Yu looked at Lin Feng and smiled. Those are the holy marks you want to learn about. The cage slowly opened and Lin Feng nodded back. Indeed, but holy marks seem rudimentary when compared with cosmic energies. Don't think that cosmic energies are that strong. Back when you couldn't control abstruse energies, you thought the same of them. After you can control cosmic energies, you will change your mind, said Emperor Yu. I know. Lin Feng knew his teacher was being nice to him too. Abstruse energies were the major difference between Tian level and Zun level cultivators. But the difference between them was nothing when compared with the differences between Zun level cultivators and emperors. I can easily create the cage because I'm an emperor, but if you were an emperor, I couldn't imprison you that easily, explained Emperor Yu. Chapter 1420. The Key to Holy City. Alright, you still have a long way to go, but you'll definitely become an emperor. Once you're an emperor, we'll see how many types of cosmic energies you can control. Now come with me, said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng nodded, calling Meng Qing and Qiu Yu Xian over. After a short time, Lin Feng arrived on a mountain inside the small world. There were some people he knew. Teachers, you're here. Those people were his 3 teachers from Tianxian, the Snow Zun cultivator, the Fire Zun cultivator and Jianfeng Zi. There was also Tianji Zi with them. Lin Feng had told them about Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu, but he hadn't thought they'd come to Bahuang that quickly. Little Lin Feng, our teacher told us about you and now we're weaker than you, said the Snow Zun cultivator. He looked proud. Lin Feng was his disciple, so of course he was happy to see his disciple succeeding. Lin Feng shrugged, but found it funny, because his teachers called Emperor Yu teacher too. There's no need to pay attention to names anymore, said Emperor Yu, laughing when he saw Lin Feng's confusion. Teacher, how is Shiyan doing? Asked Lin Feng to the Fire Zun cultivator. She's good. She really wanted to come with us, but we didn't let her. It was already difficult for us to come here, because it's so far away from Tianqi, explained the Fire Zun cultivator. Teachers, you didn't come at the best time, said Lin Feng. With the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle, The situation wasn't ideal for Tiantai. Nobody knows them, so I can still help them become stronger. Then they'll go and travel around Bahuang province to become stronger. They don't need to stay in Tiantai, said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng nodded. That was the best solution. Alright, Lin Feng, you don't need to care about those things anymore. Go and practice cultivation. You need to become stronger. Later I'll call you out again, said Emperor Yu. Lin Feng nodded and said goodbye to his teachers. Then, he took Meng Qing and Qiu Xian away. Lin Feng practiced cultivation and modified his peerless holy weapons. He made some abstruse energies fused together with them. He also studied holy marks. 20 days passed before Emperor Yu called him again, as well as the other direct disciples. At the top of the mountain, Emperor Yu looked at them in a grave and solemn way. This time, you're going to a very, very dangerous place. It's not dangerous for just you, it's dangerous for everybody. As always, there will be opportunities amongst the dangers there. The ultimate goal of the meeting of the emperors, thought Lin Feng. They had chosen the most outstanding geniuses of the region, 100 people. But why? And how come the emperors didn't hesitate as they lost so many people for the meeting? This time, you'll go to an extraordinary place which will determine your future. You might even have the opportunity to become emperors there, said Emperor Yu. Remember one thing, you're going to that place with only one goal, to obtain cosmic strength fate seeds. If you don't die there and come out with a cosmic strength fate seed, you'll be able to condense the cosmic energy inside. Once you reach the top of the Zunqi layer, it'll help you become emperors. Besides, it will have another use. Those cosmic strength fate seeds also act as keys to the holy city, explained Emperor Yu. What was the holy city? How come they needed cosmic strength fate seeds to go there? Teacher, what kind of place is the holy city? Asked Lin Feng. He had always wanted to ask that question. When you make it out, I'll tell you. For now, you must go, said Emperor Yu in a grave and solemn way. He shook his hand, and a gigantic cloud appeared. Lin Feng and the others jumped on it. Apart from Mu Chen, all the others then left the small world. After a short time, Lin Feng looked down and saw that they were above the Huang Sea. Is that the Huang Sea? Asked Lin Feng. He realized that the terrifying energies of the Huang Sea didn't reach them. They stopped after a certain height. The Huang Sea. The goal was the Huang Sea. But what secrets are there inside? Lin Feng saw a black dot far away, but it was getting closer. Tianlong Divine Castle's people. Emperor Tianlong had brought the 4 princes as well. Emperor Yu is always early, shouted a voice in the distance. It was Emperor Qi. So many of my disciples were qualified, so I had to be early. Emperor Qi, your disciples have been disqualified. Shouldn't you act more discreet? Said Xingzhan mockingly. Shut the hell up. Watch your words when you're talking to an emperor, shouted Emperor Qi furiously. Emperor Yu suddenly released energies, and an earthen armor appeared around Xingzhan. An explosion ensued, and the earthen armor exploded. Emperor Qi, you're getting more and more unruly, said Emperor Yu. They're impolite, so they need to be taught a lesson. You have 11 disciples, but how many are going to stay alive? Asked Emperor Qi. After a short time, many more people had arrived. Seems like we're late, said Emperor Wen and Emperor Devamara nodding and smiling at Emperor Yu. Tiantai was close to the Huang Sea. There were 21 groups at that moment. But where were the people from the celestial palace of the immortals? Sorry for making you wait, said someone at that moment. It was the emperor of the celestial palace of the immortals. Godly awareness. Lin Feng inspected the emperor and realized that it wasn't really him. If you couldn't come yourself, you should have told me. I could have brought your disciples here myself. You must be exhausted, said Emperor Qi. No problem. You're too kind, said the old man calmly. They were still waiting even though everybody had arrived. After a short time, a group of people arrived from the distance. There was a lot of people, more than 100. Lin Feng saw 2 people in particular. It was the Ice Emperor and the Snow Leader. People from Jiuyu. Lin Feng realized. Emperor Qi smiled once he saw them. Not far from Emperor Qi, a young man knelt down in front of Emperor Qi and said, Your Majesty, you seem so outstanding and strong, wonderful. Great for the Qi Empire, said Emperor Qi. He looked extremely pleased. Lin Feng was confused. The Qi Empire? Your Majesty? Emperor Qi walked to the people from the Qi Empire and bowed before a middle-aged man. Father, how have you been? I'm good. I see you didn't even keep one disciple for me, said the middle-aged man in a cold way. Then he looked at people from Tiantai aggressively. Lin Feng and the others felt like they were suffocating from that gaze alone. The leader from the Qi Empire in Jiuyu was Emperor Qi's father. No wonder Qi Qianrun had been to a shrine. Chapter 1421. Vines, Old Trees and Crows. Emperor Yu frowned while saying, You're an old emperor and you dare act so aggressively with the younger people? Since he knows I'm an old man, how dare he talk to me that way? Replied the man to Emperor Yu without even glancing at him. Then, he looked at the young man and said, Remember, I don't want any of them to survive. Roger, Your Highness, said the young man bowing. There was only one person who was standing there in such a calm and serene way. He didn't even bow before Emperor Qi. That person's qi was absolutely extraordinary. He glanced at the crowd and stopped turning his head once he saw Ho Qinglin. Only Ho Qinglin attracted his attention. The emperor from the east brought some strong people, 15 people in total. Thought some of the people from Tiantai frowning. There were 22 groups and 100 cultivators in total. Apart from Tiantai, there were no other groups which had brought that many people. In Jiuyu, 100 people had been qualified as well. But because there were less groups in Jiuyu, they had more people qualify per group. The One Clan, the Xikong Clan, and the Celestial Thunder Temple all seemed to have something to do with Jiuyu, thought Lin Feng as he glanced over at them. The One Clan and the Xikong Clan groups seemed bigger. The Celestial Thunder Temple and the Devamara Palace also seemed to have something to do with Jiuyu because Kong Ming and Xiao Yu had been in a shrine. Why don't you come to your mother? Asked the snow leader to Yi Renlei. Yi Renlei smiled and said, I'm with my teacher, it's the same. My daughter, where are your fellow disciples in Mufeng? Are they all dead? And what happened in the shrine? Won't you tell us? Asked the snow leader. Even though she was smiling, her voice was strange. Mufeng. Those from the Bahuang province were surprised to hear that name. What did Lin Feng have to do with Yi Renlei? Besides, people were surprised to learn that Yi Renlei was the daughter of an empress from Jiuyu. Mother, I can't tell you that. I'm sorry, said Yi Renlei, smiling thinly. All right, you're my good girl after all, said the snow leader, in a cold way. Then, she turned to the people on her side and said, Once inside, take good care of my daughter. Roger, snow leader, said the strong cultivators from the Ice and Snow Shrine. All those people were cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. People from Bahuang province and Jiuyu all arrived, but nobody did anything still. They seemed to be waiting for someone. Haha, you waited for a long time, said a voice in the distance. That person was wearing a white robe, and his qi was extraordinary. That's not a problem at all, Your Excellency the messenger, said the emperors politely. Let me find the place, said the messenger, still smiling. Then, terrifying cosmic energies emerged from his eyes as he stared into the Huang Sea. Huge waves appeared from his energies. What a terrifying strength. Everybody was amazed. The man's cosmic energies made the sea go insane, creating a whirlpool. You all remember well, that was the right place, said the messenger to the emperors. Then he entered the Huang Sea. Let's go, said all the emperors to their cultivators. Then they too entered the Huang Sea, the legendary battlefield of the antiquity. It quickly became dark in the Huang Sea, as they went dozens of thousands of meters deep in. Suddenly, they arrived in front of an empty space. The Huang Sea couldn't penetrate into it even. There was a coffin there which looked like a door. There were even marks on it. Sealing technique. Lin Feng recognized some of the seals from back in Shuiyu. Now in front of him, there was a seal which had the form of a coffin. The young people this years seem even more outstanding than 100 years ago. Let me explain to you where you're going. The central part of the ancient battlefield. Many emperors were buried inside, and a myriad of strong cultivators died there. Only people who aren't cultivation emperors can go inside. Nobody knows what there is inside, but there are definitely emperor fate seeds. Once you have an Emperor Fate seed, give it to me and I'll let you go to the holy city, explained the messenger. Understood, said many people, nodding along. It seemed like they had to obey that guy. All right, let's open the seal. Good luck, said the messenger. He placed his hand on the marks of the coffin, and dazzling lights broke through the dark Huang Sea. Bzzz. A terrifying strength emerged from the coffin. Then a door appeared and the lights became even brighter. All right, you can go inside now, said the messenger to the crowd. Instantly, many people crossed the door as fast as they could. Let's go too, said Ho Qinglin to his friends. Then, Tiantai's people gradually crossed the door as well. Lin Feng crossed the door and was surprised by what he saw. What is this place? Everything was dark in front of him. There was no sun, no moon, it was just dark. There were many ancient trees and vines. There was even desolate and dry qi. Caw. Many people gulped down and shivered. There were some crows resting on the ancient black trees. They were pitch black and gigantic, but they looked calm though. If they hadn't cawed, people wouldn't have noticed them. Surprisingly, there are living things here, thought some people, surprised. There was an ancient log cabin in the distance, and it seemed like someone lived there. But it was only an illusion. It gave people an ominous feeling. Dry vines, old trees, crows, whispered Lin Feng. There were no bridges, no rivers, no people. What the hell is going on? Someone rose up in the air and punched the crows. The crows all opened their eyes and fixedly stared at the attacker. Ah! That cultivator gave a horrible shriek and suddenly, his body decayed and turned to dust. Boom, boom! People's hearts started pounding. It was as if they had forgotten what they were there for. They were just standing there, calmly, not trying to aggravate those crows. The crows then stopped moving and calmly stood on the branches of the trees again. That's cosmic strength, thought Lin Feng. The bodies of the evil crows contained cosmic energies. They had killed a cultivator of the 5th Zun Qi layer in a flash. The crows' bodies contain cosmic energies, so that means there are Emperor Fate seeds here, thought Lin Feng. Then, he heard another crow caw, and the door of the cabin opened itself. The crowd was startled and stopped breathing for a few seconds. Chapter 1422. The demon sealing Great Emperor's hometown. So many years, said a ghostly voice. It seemed like a dead person had just talked to them. Someone slowly came out of the cabin. Half of his face was missing, and instead of a left arm, there was white bones. The rest of his body was pitch black. Even eyes were pitch black. He looked like a zombie. He must be dead, thought the crowd. His body contained death qi, so he had probably died many years ago. But he was now standing in front of the crowd. 100 years have passed, and even more people came here to see me again, said the ghostly voice. Nobody dared say anything. Even the crows didn't move. They could sense that person's terrifying death qi. That person's death qi has turned into cosmic strength, so that must mean he's still alive, thought Lin Feng. Maybe that he had died, and then come back to life thanks to the death strength. The same probably applied to those crows. So he must have fate seeds, death fate seeds that is, thought Lin Feng. He didn't care how that person was still living. What he cared about was the seeds. Why are you not talking? Who wants to play chess? Asked the dead person. He sat down at a table in front of the cabin and started playing against himself. Mister, we still have some things to do. We'll see you later, said someone bowing before the dead man. Then he rose up in the air. He wanted to leave, but suddenly a terrifyingly oppressive energy surrounded him. Wrong answer, said the dead man hoarsely. Then he looked at the person and instantly they turned black. Death qi invaded his body and he collapsed dead. He can kill people by simply glancing at them. What is this sorcery? Thought the crowd. Who would dare move? I've been here for a long time, so I just want to chat. After that I'll let you go. I'm not a demon. Killing you is useless to me, said the dead man in a deep and hoarse voice. He felt alone, but he loved spending time with people and chatting. Since you don't want to stay with me, I'll choose someone myself. You, the very beautiful girl who breeds talent, come here, said the dead person to Yi-Run-Lei. Yi-Run-Lei couldn't manage a smile as she usually did. Mister, I'll play chess with you. I love chess, said Lin Feng walking forwards. He wasn't afraid to die. Yi-Run-Lei was shocked, but the dead person smiled and said hoarsely, "All right, good, come here." Lin Feng walked towards the dead person and sat down opposite him. Chess was just the same as it was in the normal world. Was chess a game which had been created in the antiquity? "All right, you people can walk around. Just don't go any farther than 1,000 meters. Also, don't offend those birds," said the dead person. Lin Feng started playing. He looked calm and serene as he said, "Mister, where are we? Why is the game of chess the same as in the outside world as in here? We're in the Jiuyu region. After the war, everybody died here. Why do you say the game of chess is the same?" said the dead person. He looked surprised, but at the same time, he looked expressionless, his eyes looked empty. "Where do you come from?" asked the dead person to Lin Feng. "I come from the Bahuang province. My hometown is Shuiyu though. Have you ever heard of it?" asked Lin Feng. He didn't have much hope though. "Shuiyu, Shuiyu," whispered the dead person, staring at Lin Feng. "You come from Shuiyu. That's the demon sealer's birthplace." The demon sealer? Lin Feng was amazed. The demon sealer was probably the demon sealing great emperor, which meant that his hometown was Shuiyu. What's going on? Thought Lin Feng. It can't be. If the battlefield has been sealed by the demon sealer, and you come from the outside world, how could you be from Shuiyu? I must be mistaken, said the dead person. He was confused. His memories must have been mixed up. Mister, are you talking about the demon sealing great emperor? Is he really from Shuiyu? Asked Lin Feng. If Shuiyu was the demon sealing great emperor's hometown, then on the other day, when the netherworld demon emperor had appeared, the one who had expelled everyone from Shuiyu was maybe the demon sealing great emperor. Shut up, shouted the dead person, suddenly releasing death qi which surrounded Lin Feng's body. Rumbling sounds spread in the air. Then Lin Feng fell down onto his bottom. Lin Feng. Lin Feng's fellow disciples, and Yiren Lei were surprised. Don't come here, shouted Lin Feng. Then he sat down cross-legged and absorbed the death qi. You understand death qi, said the dead person. He sounded excited. He didn't want to kill Lin Feng. He was just confused. If he had wanted to kill Lin Feng, it would have been easy. Indeed, mister, I have studied death abstruse energies, said Lin Feng. He was trying to remain calm. This place is perfect for you to practice cultivation then, said the dead person hoarsely. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Indeed. He gradually absorbed the death qi and made his way back to the dead person. Then he sat down and the dead person looked at him, smiled, and said, You're braver than them. I don't know that, said Lin Feng smiling. The dead man and Lin Feng continued playing chess and chatted. Lin Feng didn't ask anything else, he didn't dare. After a day, 2 people wanted to escape, but the dead man killed them. Apart from playing chess with the dead man during those days, Lin Feng also walked around sometimes. The death qi was very thick and rich in there, so he had a lot to benefit from. At that moment, Lin Feng sat down cross-legged in a dark area and studied the thick and rich death qi. A demon appeared, and just like the dead man had said, that place was perfect to study death abstruse energies. If we don't leave, we can't do anything else, said Wuxia and Emoqing Tian to each other, using telepathy. I don't know how long the dead man wants us to stay here and what the rest of this region looks like, said Emoqing Tian, sounding annoyed. At that moment a light appeared. Lin Feng turned around and saw that the East Emperor's people looked furious. The great oriental greenfinch rock of the bestial imperial palace also looked furious. They were all fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng had ancient scriptures, and they wanted them. Lin Feng glanced at them, but then turned around again. During this time Lin Feng had realized that the core disciples of a few groups stayed together all the time, as if they were hiding something. Ho Qing Lin came and said to them using telepathy, We need to be careful. Some people brought imperial weapons in here. During the meeting of the emperors, we couldn't use imperial weapons, but in here, there are absolutely no restrictions. They could be plotting against the dead man. Lin Feng nodded and also said, using telepathy, Emperor Qi's father must have given some imperial weapons to his people. If the dead man wasn't here, we would probably have to fight against them. Yes, we need to be prepared, said Ho Qing Lin. Chapter 1423. Killing the dead man. Some time passed, and the crowd had been stuck in there for 3 months already. Someone else tried to escape, but he was no exception. He was killed instantly. They were young, they needed to continue becoming stronger. Otherwise, if they came out after 100 years, the world would have changed, and they'd need to catch up with new geniuses. Lin Feng sometimes played chess with the dead man, but they didn't talk much. He wasn't unhappy in there. His death abstruse energy was already level 5. Little boy, Lin Feng said using telepathy. Lin Feng opened his eyes and lights appeared in the sky. It was Lin Feng's Tianji sword. The Tianji sword had finished condensing a death soul. Lin Feng stood up and sat down next to the dead man. It was as if he had been waiting for him. As usual, Lin Feng played chess with him and listened to the dead man's incomprehensible stories. Back then that place was gigantic. It used to be the Jiuyu region. Then a great war began and many people died. Then, the demon-sealing great emperor had sealed that place. But why in the Huangxi? At that moment, the great oriental greenfinch rock approached them. He looked at Lin Feng, and then the dead man in a sharp way. Lin Feng didn't turn his head, but he sensed that some people were looking at him, like the young man who had bowed before Emperor Qi, and the princes from Tianlong Divine Castle. Oh no, thought Lin Feng. The great oriental greenfinch rock was unruly and obstinate. He had even dared act disrespectful to the diviner. Apart from him, the others were quite unruly and aggressive too. They all had the strength of the 8th Zunqi layer at least. Lin Feng guessed they wanted to attack. Mister, when will you let us go? Asked the great oriental greenfinch rock to the dead man. Lin Feng felt extremely nervous. The dead man could use cosmic energies like emperors. Even if he wasn't as strong as real emperors, Zun cultivators couldn't compete with his cosmic energies. If those people wanted to attack, they had to kill the dead man in one attack. Otherwise, everybody would be doomed. When I get tired, I'll let you go, said the dead man as before. He didn't even glance at them. It seemed like he hadn't even noticed that they wanted to attack him. All right, mister. We hope you get tired quickly, said the great oriental greenfinch rock calmly. Then, golden lights appeared, and the great oriental greenfinch rock streaked across the sky. Boom! Lin Feng had the feeling that he was going to explode. The great oriental greenfinch rock lacerated the sky with each flap of his wings. Block! Lin Feng knew he didn't have time to react. He just released empty space energy using his empty space robe and disappeared. Slash slash! The dazzling lights surprised the old man. Then, he released a terrifying death chi, and the atmosphere became darker. Kacha! The golden wings lacerated the dead man's body, but he was dead, so it didn't matter. Death chi surrounded the great oriental greenfinch rock, but he used his other wing to wrap himself up. The death chi couldn't corrode his dazzling golden wings. The great oriental greenfinch rock was using an imperial weapon. Lacerate! Lin Feng looked at the young man, who came with the East Emperor. He was holding a dazzling sword. Bzz. Lin Feng used his empty space robe again, and appeared 1,000 meters away. The young man's sword struck where Lin Feng was standing a moment before. Arg! The dead man's body was lacerated, but his head was still there though. Die die die. Death chi invaded filled the space. Lin Feng turned around and ran away. The death chi was corroding his body, and it was strong enough that it could kill him. Run fast! The death chi was terrifying. No! Someone died next to Lin Feng and fell down from the sky. If Lin Feng hadn't used his empty space robe, he would have died already. He continuously released vitality abstruse energies to recover as he ran away. Those people were using imperial weapons to fight the dead man, struggling to get his fate seeds. Lin Feng, take it! Junemo, she threw a jar of blood at Lin Feng. That's my blood, it contains immortal energies, said Junemo she to Lin Feng. Junemo, she had received the blood from the Emperor of the Celestial Palace of the Immortals. He also had imperial weapons and understood death and immortal energies very well. Be careful, shouted Lin Feng to Junemo she. He then flew away. He was a good fighter, but after all, he didn't have any imperial weapons. Boom boom boom! Terrifying explosions sounded, the death chi was exploding. The The dead man didn't attack everybody luckily, otherwise, many people would have died. The dead man is not as strong as an emperor, otherwise, he would have killed those people, even if they had imperial weapons, thought Lin Feng. He didn't use Jun Emoshi's blood yet, he wanted to be far away, so that he could block the death chi. Caw caw, some crows cawed and flew around Lin Feng. There were dozens of them, and they were gigantic. Then they flew towards him, surprising him. He then jumped onto his gigantic sword. He wanted to go somewhere else, but the crows prevented him from moving away. Lin Feng saw Renlei. She looked like she was struggling. She was releasing life abstruse energies, and using the life water Lin Feng had given to her. Those crowd can release cosmic energies, don't offend them, said Renlei. They surrounded me. The dead man made them angry, not me. Wuxia and the others had also arrived by this time. Those crows are dead, so I'll use reincarnation energies to fight them, said Ho Ching Lin. He released a sword reincarnation attack, and then holes appeared in the air. Die! Shouted Ho Ching Lin. In a flash, the crows disappeared inside the reincarnation holes. Arg! The others' crows were going insane. Mu Bei brother, use your gravestone, said Lin Feng. Maybe those insane cultivators were going to kill the dead man, so they needed to think of a solution to escape if that happened. No, we'll all try to bury ourselves, we can try and gamble that way, said Mu Bei, shaking his head. No need brother, I have Jun Emoshi's blood. You can stay, but I'm going, said Lin Feng. His Tianji sword dashed to the skies, diffusing dazzling lights. In a flash many crows died. Even though their bodies were filled with cosmic energies, their energies didn't belong to them. Chapter 1424. Dream BZE. A terrifying death chi descended from the sky, but Lin Feng took out a palace. Mu Bei and the others were stupefied. Mu Bei shouted, Lin Feng brother, be careful. Boom! Mu Bei punched the ground, creating a crater and causing pieces of stones to rise up in the air. Then they jumped into the crater, and the stones covered them up to look like a real tomb. Die! Lin Feng could use the Tianji sword to see around, as the Tianji sword didn't fear cosmic energies. It quickly killed the crows while Lin Feng was surfing on his gigantic sword. His palace could prevent the cosmic energies from the crows from affecting him. What a great sword, thought Lin Feng. He was making his Tianji sword absorb death cosmic energies, which could be beneficial in the future. Lin Feng! Shouted someone in the distance. Then, golden lights illuminated the surroundings. That was the Great Rock. It seems that they had managed to kill the dead man with their imperial weapons. Lin Feng and his friends were worried that the Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock and the young man from the Qi clan would try to get their revenge. It seems like they were right to fear that flap flap. The Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock flapped his golden wings, and the crows around him all died. He stared at Lin Feng in a strange way. Lin Feng, hand over your ancient scriptures, said the Great Rock, glaring at Lin Feng who had just recalled his Tianji sword. Little bird, Emperor Peng gave you a great imperial weapon. If you died here it would be a pity, wouldn't it? Said Lin Feng mockingly. You dare make fun of me, yet I never talk shit to you. You have 3 seconds to give me your ancient scriptures, otherwise you'll die, said Mo Peng furiously. Lin Feng smiled coldly. How can you be sure that I have the ancient scriptures? Then, Lin Feng jumped into the Jade Emperor's palace, and the palace fell down to the ground. Caw! Mo Peng cawed and looked at the palace. He wanted to break it, he even struck it with his golden wings, but he still couldn't break it. Cosmic energies are condensed around that palace. Mo Peng was surprised. Lin Feng surprisingly had a palace that even his imperial weapon couldn't break. Caw! Mo Peng shouted furiously. He flew towards the door of the palace as fast as he could. Rumbling sounds made the palace shake violently. Mo Peng! Shouted someone. The Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock looked at the palace, and then left just as quickly as he came. The young man from the Qi clan struck the palace with his sword, but he couldn't break it either. He looked furious. Mo Peng stole the fate seed, and then flew away immediately. The young man from the Qi clan was even more furious, because he couldn't catch up with him, and now Lin Feng was hiding in the palace. Let's go! Shouted the young man from the Qi clan. leaving with his friends. After Lin Feng found out that those people couldn't break his palace, he stayed inside for a month and practiced cultivation. When he came out, there was nobody there anymore. They couldn't waste such an opportunity. It was something that happened only once every 100 years. Lin Feng put his palace away and jumped onto his gigantic sword, streaking across the sky. It was desolate, but there were some amazing landscapes to behold. It's an ancient battlefield, thought Lin Feng. He saw some familiar landscapes, but he couldn't remember what they were. That mountain range. Lin Feng saw a mountain range, which looked like the Yunhai mountain range. And that forest. Lin Feng noticed a forest which looked like the Black Wind Mountain. How come it looks so similar? Thought Lin Feng. He continued flying across the sky towards Yangzhou City, and as expected he saw a city. Even though it wasn't like the Yangzhou City he had created from the sky, it looked similar. Lin Feng was very confused. From here, I need less than an hour to make it to the former imperial city of Shuiyu, thought Lin Feng, gazing into the distance. His sword streaked across the sky again, and after an hour, Lin Feng saw another city. It was wrecked, but it looked like the former imperial city of Shuiyu. Lin Feng was astonished, his heart started racing. What was going on? Why did that place, which had been sealed by the demon-sealing Great Emperor, look like Shuiyu? Bzzz. Lin Feng flew towards Duanren City. He wanted to make sure that this place was Shuiyu. When Lin Feng arrived in the sky above Duanren border, he realized he was right. That place looked like Duanren City. However, instead of the Duanren border, there was a gigantic valley, which looked like a sword mark. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword qi, thought Lin Feng. The valley had been created by a sword strike, which contained terrifying energies. Emperor Wu Tianjian came here too? Thought Lin Feng. He was confused. That ancient battlefield looked like Shuiyu though. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered, and he landed in Duanren border. There was a coffin seal in front of him, and it was filled with ice-cold energies. That was the border of Shuiyu, and that was a sealed area. As if it had been the end of the small world. Maybe the demon-sealing Great Emperor was feeling sad after Shuiyu was destroyed, so he decided to recreate the country here, thought Lin Feng. If that place was Shuiyu, an ancient battlefield which was also the demon-sealing Great Emperor's birthplace, then where was the real Shuiyu in the outside world? There's someone. Lin Feng saw a silhouette in white clothes in the distance. He jumped onto his sword and streaked across the sky again. Who are you? Shouted Lin Feng. Suddenly the person in white clothes became blurry as Lin Feng suddenly felt like he was going to faint. Then he slowly lied down and fell asleep. When Lin Feng fainted, he sensed that he had fallen on a soft body. That person gently caressed Lin Feng's head. He tried to open his eyes, but he couldn't. It was like a dream. In his dream, he saw a terrifying battle where many strong cultivators died. They were astonishingly strong, so much so that he felt like an ant next to them. Lin Feng also practiced cultivation in his dream, and he became extremely strong. He practiced cultivation for a year, and it felt so real. Chapter 1425. Stealing a fate seed. 1,000 years passed in the dream. Finally, Lin Feng woke up and felt that his consciousness had changed. Demon qi was flowing around and throughout his body. His demon qi had become a lot stronger. What's going on? Lin Feng's mouth twitched. He tried to move his legs, but they felt so soft. He turned around and saw a beautiful face, but that face was deathly pale like a ghost. You woke up, said the beautiful woman in a gentle voice. She was still caressing Lin Feng's head, making his muscles twitch. How long did I sleep? Asked Lin Feng. You slept for a year. I helped you practice cultivation in your dream, said the beautiful woman. Lin Feng gulped down. A year? He had really slept for a year. And that woman had helped him practice cultivation in his dream? No wonder I feel like I have become stronger. I have the strength of the top of the 4th Zunqi layer, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled wryly. Had he wasted time that year? He didn't care that he had leveled up. The main question was it worth it? Can I move? Asked Lin Feng. He didn't want to offend her. Maybe she could make him sleep for another 10, or even 100 years. You can, young child, said that beautiful woman. Lin Feng was speechless. Child, that beautiful woman looked young, and he wasn't used to hearing beautiful women call him a child. Lin Feng stood up and asked, Madam, what kind of skills do you practice? And why did you make me practice cultivation while sleeping? The woman was nice and gentle to Lin Feng. Lin Feng considered her as a nice old woman, so he wasn't afraid. The dream of life ancient scriptures. I can control dream cosmic energies. I created that dream for you, said the beautiful woman honestly. Lin Feng was curious and intrigued. Such terrifying ancient scriptures. Sigh, 100 years passed. You probably came here for some emperor fate seeds, said the beautiful woman, sighing heavily again. She seemed unhappy that time passed so fast. Indeed, madam, replied Lin Feng. It's not easy to get emperor fate seeds. Each time people came in for emperor fate seeds, the consequences were tragic, said the beautiful woman, shaking her head. Young child, don't try and find emperor fate seeds. You should stay here and practice cultivation. I can make you fall asleep and practice cultivation in here. I can even transmit the dream of life ancient scriptures to you, said the beautiful woman in a gentle way. Lin Feng was surprised and shook his head. Madam, even though it's difficult to get emperor fate seeds, I must try. Maybe I'll be lucky in my search. No, why would you want emperor fate seeds anyways? I can help you become stronger and teach you the dream of life cosmic energies. Madam, fate seeds are really important to me, so I'm leaving, said Lin Feng. Then he glanced around. The woman didn't seem like she wanted to attack him. His silhouette flickered, but suddenly, he began to feel drowsy again. Lin Feng bit his lips to stay awake. Why do you need fate seeds? Why do you want to leave me every 100 years? All my friends and close ones are dead. We should become a family. Why do you want to abandon your family? Asked the beautiful woman in a cold way. She then landed next to him again. She wasn't warm anymore. She was rather cold. Cosmic energies emerged and illuminated the atmosphere. Comic strength, there are fate seeds in the castle. Lin Feng was surprised. The beautiful woman looked like she could disappear at any moment when she casted her energies. Her silhouette flickered every now and then. She's not alive either. She lives thanks to cosmic energies, realized Lin Feng. There was probably nobody alive in there. Those people existed, all thanks to the strange energies. Busy. A strong wind started blowing and dazzling wings blotted out the sky. A rock had appeared. Rumbling and explosions sounded as the castle broke apart. The great rock was moving towards the source of the cosmic energies. Oh no! Lin Feng suddenly moved in that direction as fast as he could. The woman also followed him. Break! The young man from the Qi clan lacerated the space with his sword. A terrifying tornado started rotating as he threw himself at the castle. Caw! More rumbling sounds as the rock arrived from another direction. There were ancient scriptures in his claws, and one fate seed, which contained cosmic energy. Sleep! Shouted the beautiful woman. The fate seed released cosmic energies, and the rock closed his eyes, falling asleep. Lacerate! Shouted the young man from the Qi clan. Explosions sounded as he attacked the rock's body, making it fly far away. No! Shouted the woman furiously. Her body became even more blurry, as if she was going to disappear. The young man from the Qi clan smiled coldly and didn't pay any attention to her. He hadn't thought the rock would steal his fate seed. The woman couldn't be far away from the fate seed or the ancient scriptures. Otherwise she would disappear. Lin Feng quickly understood this. Lin Feng grabbed the woman's body which was disappearing and ran after the rock. Then she slowly appeared again. Piss off! Shouted the young man from the Qi clan, lacerating the sky with his sword. Boom boom! A loud sound rumbled as a castle appeared in front of Lin Feng, blocking the sword attack. Then that castle disappeared again. Lin Feng continued chasing the rock with the woman in his arms. Some people looked at him from higher up in the sky. They were strong cultivators who had come with the East Emperor. There was also a rock who had the great Oriental Greenfinch rock's blood. Piss off! Shouted the cultivator from the Qi clan attacking again. However, the rock was too fast. He lacerated the young man's colleague with his claws and took the ancient scriptures and fate seed again. 1,000-year dream of life, shouted the woman. The fate seed became dazzling, but the rock immediately threw it at the young man from the Qi clan. "Stop!" shouted the young man from the Qi clan. But the dream of life cosmic energies moved towards him. He struck the fate seed with his sword, making it fly away. At the same time, the dream of life cosmic energies still made him fall asleep. Rumbling sounds appeared in the air again as a palace fell towards him. Then, the palace crashed onto his head. Boom! He was buried under the palace. Lin Feng didn't look at him. He was still holding the woman in his arms, and had ran after the fate seed. The woman didn't pay him any attention. She couldn't be too far from the fate seed, so her focus was on it. Of course, the young man had also struck the seed with his sword, making her want to attack him. Die! One of the strong cultivators from the East Emperor's side, and a rock chased after Lin Feng and the woman. They knew that if the woman was near the fate seed, they wouldn't be able to deal with her. In the distance, another cultivator from the East Emperor's side flew towards the fate seed. "No!" shouted the woman. She had lost all her friends and family members. Why did people want her to disappear? She started crying, and her body started disappearing again. Lin Feng felt incredibly sad for her. He still remembered what he had seen in the dream. "Ah!" the woman shouted. A terrifying strength surrounded him and made him fly away. The woman attacked those two people, making one of them explode and the other one fall asleep. They both fell down from the sky. "I'll take care of you." Lin Feng released demonic intent and jumped on his gigantic sword. He followed the one who had stolen the fate seed as fast as he could. Chapter 1426 Kill. A cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer, who came with the East Emperor, had taken the fate seed, and now he was using empty space abstruse energies to run away with it. In one step, he could fly over 100 meters. Bzz. Lin Feng's sword whistled. The strong cultivator was surprised when he looked behind him and saw Lin Feng riding his gigantic sword. Lin Feng had a heart in his left hand, which could turn into the Jade Emperor's palace. He was condensing empty space energies in his right hand. "You must want to die," shouted that strong cultivator. He came from Jiuyu, so he didn't know how strong Lin Feng was. He only saw a cultivator at the top of the 4th Zun Qi layer, who dared chase him. He immediately turned around, and a gigantic hand moved towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't dodge, he actually moved faster towards him. "Die!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. His voice carried cursing and death energies. He wanted to drain his opponent's vitality with it. A gigantic axe appeared in Lin Feng's right hand. Some rumbling sounds appeared as the axe descended from the sky. Metallic ringing sounded as it destroyed the gigantic hand and cut the enemy's body into two as well. Lin Feng grabbed the corpse and took his ring. He checked inside it with his godly awareness and found the fate seed filled with cosmic energy. He turned around and saw a great oriental greenfinch rock was heading towards him very quickly. However, that wasn't the real one. That cultivator was at the top of the Zun Qi layer and had the blood of the great oriental greenfinch rock. But he was another descendant. Arg! A demon illusion appeared around Lin Feng's body. His body became dark, his eyes became pitch black. Ka! The great oriental greenfinch rock threw himself at Lin Feng with his wings, which were sharper than blades. Arg arg! Lin Feng's demon roared furiously. Lin Feng didn't dodge, instead throwing himself at him too. His physical body fused together with the earth and sky, even more so now after having been cleansed by the lights of the gate in Tiantai. Boom boom ka! Ka! A terrifying, horrible shriek sounded. Lin Feng had cut off one of the rock's wings. Cracks appeared on his golden body, and golden blood dripped. Then the great rock fell down from the sky. Lin Feng had used his full strength, with his demon qi and the force of the earth and sky. It was simple to say his attacks were multiplied by more than 5. Not to mention his axe contained cosmic energy. Slash slash! The bird maid invoked his blood to recover his arm. He turned around and flew in the other direction at the same time, wanting to escape. Bzzz. Lin Feng disappeared suddenly, but dazzling lights appeared. The bird couldn't move, because he had suddenly been trapped in a cage made of a strange strength. I did it. Lin Feng was surprised of himself. Even though the bird was injured, he was still extremely fast. So Lin Feng didn't have the utmost confidence in himself until it actually worked. Caw! The bird cawed furiously. He released golden lights and his feathers turned into terrifyingly sharp blades. Then, he used them to try to break the cage. Metallic ringing sounded as he started breaking the holy marks. But at the same time, Lin Feng arrived with the axe in both hands. Arg! Lin Feng released demonic energies and struck the bird's back with his axe. Explosions sounded in the air, and the bird's body crackled. More golden blood dripped and now, he was also coughing up golden blood. "You're still not dead," shouted Lin Feng. Then he struck the bird again. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Feng continued attacking the bird like a mad person, before finally, a big wound appeared on his body. Lin Feng took the ancient scriptures away from the bird, and then looked at him with his demon eyes. "You won't be the last great oriental greenfinch rock I kill," said Lin Feng. He then struck the bird's head with his axe one last time. After a final explosion, the bird finally closed his eyes. The great oriental greenfinch rock had been killed by a human being. What a humiliation. Lin Feng glanced around and saw that there were several people watching him. The young man with his imperial sword had arrived as well. Other strong cultivators were looking at him. Some people who had come with the East Emperor were there as well. Lin Feng had killed a bird and a cultivator who had come with the East Emperor. Now he had a fate seed and the ancient scriptures. That strong cultivator of the Qi clan was called Qi Yan, and he was the East Emperor's son, Emperor Qi's direct disciple. Qi Yan looked at Lin Feng, who was still holding his axe, and was looking like a demon. Bzzz. Dazzling lights suddenly emerged from Qi Yan's body as he moved towards Lin Feng. His sword couldn't destroy that mysterious palace, but Lin Feng didn't hide inside it again. This time he could use his full strength to attack Lin Feng. Lin Feng disappeared as the Jade Emperor's heart turned into a gigantic palace and struck Qi Yan, making him fly away. Die! A demonic voice resonated in one of the cultivator's brain, and he suddenly stopped moving. Lin Feng's death abstruse energy was at the top of the 5th level. His demon abstruse energy was level 6. His cursing abstruse energy was level 5, while his soundwave abstruse energy was only level 3. Even cultivators of the top of the Zunqi layer were affected by those energies combined. Lacerate. Lin Feng's Tianji sword emitted whistling sounds as it crossed the sky with extreme speed. It used the desolate Xana attack and made the enemy's head explode. That cultivator of the 7th Zunqi layer immediately died. A sword soul was something mysterious, even more so when it had several souls. Lin Feng didn't need to control it with his hands. He just had to communicate with it using telepathy, and the sword obeyed. When Lin Feng used Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, it didn't have its maximum power, because Lin Feng couldn't control its sword soul. But Lin Feng had made the souls of his Tianji sword, so they were really connected. How terrifying, thought the others. However, a strong wind blew around the palace, and an imperial weapon moved towards Lin Feng. Chapter 1427. Understanding Death Abstruse Energy, Empty Space Wind. Qi Yan's imperial weapon contained cosmic strength, making it terrifying. Lin Feng couldn't do anything to that imperial weapon. Unfortunately, he didn't have Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword anymore, otherwise, the sword would have taken care of it. Lin Feng used the Jade Emperor's palace to block the energies. Qi Yan's sword kept lacerating the sky, but that palace infuriated him. Bzzz. A silhouette suddenly appeared in front of Lin Feng. It was Qi Yan. He had used his empty space agility technique, and immediately attacked with his sword in Lin Feng's direction. Lin Feng and the palace suddenly disappeared, and reappeared far away from Qi Yan. He had used his empty space robe to dodge Qi Yan's attack. The Jade Emperor's palace moved towards Qi Yan, and then rumbling sounds appeared as it collided against him. The Jade Emperor's palace then turned into a heart again, and flew back to Lin Feng. "Stay here," shouted Lin Feng. He used many sorts of strength to block his enemy, and then his axe descended from the sky. Die! His axe crashed onto the enemy's body, and another cultivator of the 7th Zunqi layer was killed on the spot. Lin Feng glanced around, striking fear into those people's hearts. Surprisingly, they didn't meet Lin Feng's gaze. They all stepped back, but Lin Feng released cursing energies, making them stop for a second. Lin Feng had killed cultivators of the 7th Zunqi layer in front of them, so they didn't want to give him that kind of opportunity again. Lin Feng glanced at them, but they still didn't dare get close to him. Lin Feng groaned coldly and said aggressively, "A bunch of trash." Lin Feng glanced at Qi Yan again and said coldly, "Stop." Qi Yan wanted to use his sword again, but Lin Feng's shout actually made him stop. He looked at Lin Feng with some annoyance. Lin Feng was using a palace made of cosmic energies, so his sword, which was an imperial weapon, couldn't destroy it. Besides, Lin Feng also had an empty space holy weapon, which allowed him to teleport away at a moment's notice. "Since you can't kill me, just run away. Don't make me waste my time," said Lin Feng. "If you didn't have all those precious treasures, I would have killed you already," said Qi Yan. "You're really shameless," said Lin Feng in a disdainful way. Qi Yan seemed to have forgotten that he was using an imperial weapon. Then, Lin Feng jumped onto his gigantic sword and streaked across the sky. As he left, Lin Feng said, "I hope you'll live a bit longer." Qi Yan didn't chase Lin Feng because Lin Feng was right. Since he couldn't kill him, chasing him was pointless. They were both wasting time fighting against each other. He could go hunt other fate seeds instead. Everyone in here is heroically strong, especially the core disciples of some of the groups, and even more so those who have imperial weapons. "I can't defeat them yet," thought Lin Feng while riding his gigantic sword. Lin Feng didn't feel safe in that world. He needed to become even stronger. "Should I practice cultivation or try to find more fate seeds?" thought Lin Feng. He wouldn't become that much stronger if he practiced cultivation for only a short time, especially considering that he forgot about time when he practiced cultivation. Fate seeds were the keys to the holy city. However, if he wanted to become stronger, he also needed to go to the holy city, and would thus need more fate seeds. "I'll study death abstruse energy then," thought Lin Feng. He went back to the place where the dead man was at the beginning. That was a corner of Shuiyu, but also the entrance of that world. Death qi was thick and rich there, perfect for studying. When Lin Feng arrived, he noticed the soil was still black and contained desolate qi. Those annoying crows were still flying around overhead. Lin Feng didn't know how they were still animated. In the past, the dead man used to control them, but now he was gone, so how did they continue moving? Lin Feng landed in front of the small cabin where the dead man used to stay. The death qi was especially thick there. "Caw caw," crows cawed, making Lin Feng felt cold. His Tianji sword streaked across the sky and immediately lacerated the crows. Slash slash, crows fell down from the sky one after the other. One crow slipped through and headed for Lin Feng. "Die!" His Tianji sword came back and aimed at that crow. At the same time, Lin Feng invoked his blood strength, causing dragon chants to sing. "Absorb!" shouted Lin Feng. His 9 dragon heads roared and absorbed the terrifying strength emanating from the crow. As soon as the dragon swallowed the crow, death qi entered Lin Feng's body. However, Lin Feng released life abstruse energy to protect himself. "My spirit doesn't fear the strength of the dead crows," thought Lin Feng, surprised. He shouted, "Absorb, absorb!" The 9 dragon heads looked insane. They continued eating the crows, further adding to the death qi entering Lin Feng's blood. Although it was corroding his blood, he was transforming that death energy to his own. After a long time, he finally calmed down. He started studying the death abstruse energy, and found that it was easier now that he had absorbed the death qi, especially seeing how he had made it fuse together with his soul. A month passed and Lin Feng was still surrounded by a terrifying death qi. His death abstruse energy was now level 6, which meant he could easily kill cultivators of the 6th Zunqi layer and under with it. If he made it fuse together with other abstruse energies, then his attacks would become even more terrifying. However, at that moment inside the cabin, 2 white lights gleamed. The surroundings became pitch black, except for those 2 white dots. Someone was smiling at Lin Feng. 3 months later, Lin Feng's death qi was even more terrifying. His death abstruse energy was now level 7. Finally, high-level abstruse energy. On that day, Lin Feng opened his eyes and stopped practicing cultivation. But when he opened his eyes, the two white eyes in the cabin disappeared. Chapter 1428. A skeleton leading the way. I absorbed the death chi from the crows, and made it fuse together with my blood and studied it. Finally it worked, thought Lin Feng, sensing his level 7 death abstruse energy. Death abstruse energy was different from other abstruse energies. Death abstruse energy could destroy life abstruse energy, and mixing it with cursing abstruse energy made it even more horrifying. A fruit appeared in Lin Feng's hand, a Bodhi tree fruit. Lin Feng immediately put it into his mouth and chewed it. With it, demon chi penetrated into his body. This was his method to improving his demon strength. He had tons of Bodhi tree fruits, but he still couldn't waste them. Lin Feng then ate some abstruse tablets, which he had obtained in Fortune City. Dirty bird, I better not see you again. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with death determination. He stood up and gazed into the distance where he saw those two white lights. Who's that? Lin Feng released an incredible amount of death intent. Another monster? Besides, that silhouette was wearing a hooded pitch-black robe, so Lin Feng couldn't see their head. Apart from those two white lights, he could only see blackness. Woo woo. A strange and mysterious wail sound echoed. The silhouette turned around and glanced at Lin Feng. What the hell is that thing? Thought Lin Feng. The thing in the robe seemed small, and it had absolutely no chi. However, that thing seemed like it was asking Lin Feng to follow him. Do you want me to follow you? Said Lin Feng while walking forwards. Lin Feng got closer and saw a white skull under the hood. The person nodded, which meant he understood Lin Feng. Lin Feng's mouth twitched. In that world, everything seemed dangerous and strange, but nothing could still be alive in there. The dead man and the woman were both lifeless. Now a skeleton was asking Lin Feng to follow him. Maybe he had a spirit or a consciousness. Let's go then, said Lin Feng. He wanted to see where the skeleton would take him. The skeleton looked strange and was too slow. Lin Feng picked up the skeleton and put it on his gigantic sword, telling him to lead the way. The skeleton took him to a forest where the chi was very ancient. Besides the ancient chi, it seemed like there was some life energy in there. How come such a place existed in there? It almost looked like the outside world with its life energies being so thick. The trees looked fresh and alive, the polar opposite of where he had just been. Does that place contain nature strength fate seeds? Asked Lin Feng. If so, then they were probably nature or life fate seeds which contained life or nature cosmic energies. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the skeleton. The skeleton nodded, confirming what Lin Feng had just said. Why did he bring him there though? Bzz. A spiritual strength surrounded the skeleton. Lin Feng didn't want to harm the skeleton, he just wanted to check something. Lin Feng was surprised. A spiritual strength actually existed in that skeleton. How mysterious and enigmatic. If he hadn't checked, he wouldn't have sensed anything. Who are you? Asked Lin Feng, staring at the skeleton. But then he realized the skeleton couldn't reply. He hadn't talked this entire time actually. The skeleton jumped aside, and Lin Feng followed him into the forest. Lin Feng used his godly awareness to inspect the surroundings. Bzz. A light appeared in Lin Feng's hand. It was a black fire. It slowly burnt in his hand with demon and fire abstruse energies. Burn! Lin Feng's black fire turned into many threads of energies, and they moved in all directions. Bzz. A terrifying fire started burning, spreading and burning all the living plants around him. Bzz. After a short time, a dazzling light appeared. Each tree suddenly released a terrifying life strength, as if it had suddenly started living again. The trees were even more green. At the same time, the trees and plants started growing even larger. It seemed like they wanted to constrict Lin Feng. Cosmic strength, there's a fate seed in here for sure. Those trees look bestial though, thought Lin Feng. Now, he was sure the skeleton hadn't lied to him. But why was the skeleton helping him? Who had sent him? Plants continued growing, quickly blotting out the sky. Bzz. Lin Feng released sword energies, and began cutting away the branches and vines surrounding him. Lacerate. Lin Feng released even more sword chi, along with demon and fire energies. He continued cutting plants, however, There were too many branches and vines to contend with. Bzzz. Lin Feng took out his scepter and released cursing strength. Curse! Death curse! Shouted Lin Feng. Suddenly, the plants seemed like they were losing their vitality, as if they were dying. Lin Feng then saw a tree, which seemed to be millions of years old. Its green lights were brighter than all the other plants in the forest. The fate seed must be there, thought Lin Feng excitedly. Even though it was only a tree, it contained cosmic strength, so taking the fate seed away wouldn't be easy. There's a fate seed, shouted someone. At that moment, and some people appeared above him in the sky. They had seen what was going on over there, and had rushed over. The nature around him was still going insane. But Lin Feng rose up in the air, and stopped attacking. Many people were coming, so he wanted to let them try first. Caw! In the distance, golden and green lights shot up into the sky. The wings of that bird were hundreds of meters wide. That great oriental greenfinch rock had an imperial weapon, contributing even more to his speed, excellent offensive, and defensive abilities. The bird looked at Lin Feng mockingly. You want to give me some fate seeds? Said the bird aggressively. Lin Feng smiled in a cold way as he raised his scepter and condensed abstruse energies. He was getting ready to attack the bird. Break, 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 shouted the bird furiously. Even though that tree had vitality, it couldn't use it very well. Not to mention its cosmic strength wasn't that powerful, even less powerful than the death cosmic energies at the start. Besides, wood-type entities stood no chance against the bird's imperial weapon. It's time! When Lin Feng saw that the bird was about to get the fate seed, he shouted furiously, Die, die, die! Bzzz. Lin Feng disappeared and reappeared right behind the bird, striking him with his scepter and releasing cursing energies. Boom! Caw! The bird caught in anger as his body became pitch black, the death strength draining away his life. Even though he had incredible defensive abilities and terrifying speed, his life was made of life energies, so the death energies could bypass all those defenses. Caw! He cawed furiously and flapped his wings as fast as he could. Block! Lin Feng suddenly disappeared again. Lin Feng didn't wait for the bird to die. He immediately moved towards the fate seed. Chapter 1429. Strange skeleton, come out! His hands turned pitch black as his demon fire crashed onto the tree. Bzzz. Lin Feng took out the fate seed and stored it away. Then, he released empty space energy and disappeared again. Slash slash. The bird kept flapping his wings, lacerating everything around it. Lin Feng was soaked in a cold sweat, and was breathing fast. Those people had imperial weapons, so Lin Feng still wasn't convinced he could escape. Die! Shouted the great oriental greenfinch rock. He flapped his wings after he found Lin Feng, instantly throwing himself at Lin Feng. Death curse! Shouted Lin Feng, raising his scepter again. The great oriental greenfinch rock pulled in his wings and protected himself. Lin Feng ran away, throwing his gigantic palace at the bird. Large rumbling sounds appeared as the great oriental greenfinch rock peaked down, crashing into the ground and creating a crater. Die, die, die! Lin Feng was holding his scepter in his left hand and releasing cursing intent. Slash slash! The great oriental greenfinch rock cawed furiously. One of his wings was badly injured. In a flash, he appeared 10,000 meters away, opening his wings again. His body was still being corroded by death chi. He stared back at Lin Feng, somewhat surprised that his cursing strength could actually kill him, even with his imperial weapon. Dirty bird, I'm waiting for you to kill me, said Lin Feng mockingly. He was infuriating the great oriental greenfinch rock on purpose. Caw! The bird rose up in the sky and said aggressively, Lin Feng, Imo Peng will definitely kill you. Without an imperial weapon, there's no difference between you and any other bird. If you want to kill me, but if you only want to talk shit, do it somewhere else, said Lin Feng in a disdainful way. The bird was even more furious. He circled above a few times before he disappeared. He flew so fast that people heard a sonic boom issue behind him. Lin Feng watched him leave. Then he turned to a cultivator of the 7th Zun Qi layer and shouted furiously, Death curse! Die, die, die! Lin Feng shouted furiously. Even though that cultivator was a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, his life wasn't as abundant as the birds. He also didn't have any imperial weapons, so Lin Feng killed him easily. Then Lin Feng looked at the others, but they were scared and ran away instantly. Lin Feng looked around and found that there was nobody else there. Then he looked at the skeleton in the distance, still perplexed. Just what was that thing? Woo woo! The skeleton wailed and turned around, pointing at a place in the distance. He wanted to take Lin Feng to another place. Lin Feng's gigantic sword appeared again. Then the skeleton and Lin Feng flew away. He knows where the fate seeds are, and he is showing me where to go, thought Lin Feng. How strange. A skeleton was helping him, and thanks to him, he had obtained another fate seed already. But since the skeleton was helping him willingly, Lin Feng couldn't refuse. Fate seeds contain cosmic strength, and were incredible treasures. They would be even more useful after breaking through to the 9th Zunqi layer, as well as being used as keys to the holy city. They soon arrived above some ruins. There were no imperial weapons or anything special there. After all, they weren't the first people to go there. The previous generations had probably robbed all the treasures already. What was the next place going to be like? This time, the skeleton brought Lin Feng to the Yinhai mountain range and pointed at a forest, the Black Wind Mountain. Lin Feng remained silent on his sword, seeing how he couldn't communicate properly with the skeleton. They both entered the forest, and then the skeleton wailed again. Lin Feng stopped to see what he was wailing about. Woo woo! The skeleton pointed at a tree. Lin Feng was surprised. A tree again? But that tree was different from the previous one. It seemed dead, and it didn't seem to contain any fate seeds. Are you sure there's a fate seed inside? Asked Lin Feng. The skeleton nodded back unceasingly. All right, move away. Lin Feng raised his hand and condensed demon fire while the skeleton moved aside. Then Lin Feng attacked the tree. Lin Feng was surprised though. The fire hit the tree and then disappeared immediately. An illusion. Lin Feng was guessing that it might be illusion cosmic energies? It couldn't be. That tree was definitely real. He had a familiar feeling with it. So close yet so far indeed. I have the same feeling when I use the so close yet so far technique, thought Lin Feng. That was empty space strength. That tree was in a different space, so demon fire couldn't burn it. Just like when he used the so close yet so far technique, people couldn't reach him. Empty space cosmic strength, that tree is a treasure too, thought Lin Feng. He stopped condensing demon fire as he walked to the tree. He stretched out his hand, and as expected he couldn't touch it. Where's the fate seed and how can I get it? Whispered Lin Feng. He then released empty space abstruse energy, and it seemed to condense with the tree's empty space strength. Lin Feng walked forwards and entered the tree, disappearing from sight. The skeleton smiled as Lin Feng disappeared, almost like a human being. Then, he turned around and left, not waiting for Lin Feng to come back. Chapter 1430. Stuck for 2 years. Lin Feng had a strange feeling after he entered the tree. He was in an empty space which looked like a castle. It looked like a strong cultivator's small world. However, that castle was burning, flames were everywhere. Kaboom! Explosions sounded as a stone block fell down. Cosmic strength, there's cosmic strength everywhere. Besides, there are 3 different types of cosmic strength here, which means there must be 3 fate seeds, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng found the skeleton even more mysterious now. Lin Feng had a familiar feeling inside there. Bzz, a green light appeared. The stone blocks seemed like they had eyes. It felt like they were staring at Lin Feng. There's something wrong here. There aren't only 3 kinds of cosmic strength. There's fire, empty space, and earth cosmic strength. But there's life cosmic strength as well. That's what gives those dead things that alive feeling, thought Lin Feng. He could only see 2 fate seeds, but how could he get them? Go! Lin Feng unsheathed his Tianji sword and descended from the sky. Bzz. However, as it descended, the fire became even more powerful. The stones came together and formed a gigantic stone man, which collided with the Tianji sword. Boom! The Tianji sword chipped away a piece of stone. Flames dashed to the skies as the stone man seemed to have woken up. Boom, boom, boom! the terrifying strength bombarded the Tianji sword, making it shake violently. "Come back!" shouted Lin Feng. Boom, 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 boom. The Tianji sword was already buried in the ground. Some more gigantic firemen appeared. Then they turned into burning mountains and buried everything beneath them as they sat down. Come out, shouted Lin Feng. He could sense that his Tianji sword was shaking violently. It was going insane. But it was useless. The burning stone men were too strong. Earth cosmic strength. Lin Feng looked upset. While Lin Feng was thinking about how to get back his Tianji sword, gigantic stone blocks appeared again and were staring at Lin Feng. Oh no! Lin Feng feared that the gigantic burning stone men wanted to attack him. Bees is easy. A burning stone flew towards him like a fireball. Break! Shouted Lin Feng, furiously punching the fireball and making it explode. Lin Feng's arm was extremely sore after that. Those energies were terrifying and contained cosmic strength, so he couldn't afford to underestimate them. Bzz. At the same time, it started to rain fire on Lin Feng. Oh no! Lin Feng suddenly rose up in the air and released sword chi. Lacerate, 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 shouted Lin Feng furiously. The fire rain was even more beautiful as it broke apart into a myriad of burning stone men, which then threw themselves at Lin Feng. Lin Feng suddenly disappeared as he used his empty space robe, reappearing higher up in the air. Boom! Fireballs crashed where he had been a second before, leaving a gigantic crater. Getting those fate seeds seems to be too difficult, thought Lin Feng. He continued rising up in the air, but more fireballs launched towards him. Slash slash! Empty space energies appeared above Lin Feng. He raised his head and saw an incredible empty space strength above him. He hadn't realized it before because the ceiling was too high. The empty space fate seed is above me. There were 4 fate seeds in that place, but they all seemed difficult to get to. Lin Feng used his deadly demon punch, and explosions sounded. If he lost focus for even a second, he would die. The Firestone men seemed furious and continued attacking Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched one of them and moved like the wind before punching another one. Piss off! Lin Feng kept destroying the burning stones, but he felt overwhelmed. Lin Feng looked around looking for an exit, but found nothing. There was no exit, and his Tianji sword was stuck in there. Boom! Lin Feng moved like the wind and dodged the next wave of attacks. He released wind and empty space energies to dodge all the attacks. Should I hide inside the Jade Emperor's palace and practice inside it? Thought Lin Feng. Then he thought, I should try to practice here first. If that doesn't work, I'll go inside the palace. Break! Lin Feng continued punching the stones, but there were still too many of them. Break, break, break! Lin Feng punched the stones one after the other as he continued running away. After 7 days, he was still dodging attacks. He felt like he was going to run out of demon chi, but he continued on. A month later, Lin Feng looked exhausted. He couldn't use demon energies anymore, so his deadly demon punches were useless. He persevered though, and continued dodging the attacks. His empty space and wind energies were getting still stronger. I'll see what my real limits are, thought Lin Feng like a madman. 3 months later, it seemed like the fire and stones couldn't kill Lin Feng. He couldn't use demon energies, but the demon intent in his eyes seemed more stable. When he condensed demon intent, a strong wind surrounded him. The wind around him was becoming even stronger. Then it turned into a tornado. The strength of the earth and sky turned into demon chi and flowed throughout Lin Feng's body. Boom! Lin Feng felt great as the demon chi flowed throughout his body. He thought he had never felt so great in his life. He continued absorbing demon strength from the strength of the earth and sky. Arg! A terrifying demon chi continued building in his body as he continued running around and releasing demon punches. However, as Lin Feng became stronger, the firestones also became stronger. 3 months, then 6 months, then 1 year. Time passed quickly, but Lin Feng didn't give up. He wanted to leave, but he was stuck inside. He could only become stronger until he overcame the burning stones. More time passed, and Lin Feng had been stuck inside for 2 years already. Chapter 1431, Come Out. Back in Tiantai, two beautiful women were gazing into the distance while sitting on the stairs. They looked particularly sad. 3 years, and he still hadn't come back. Emperor, you hadn't come back either. Where were they? In the gigantic territory of Tiantai, all the disciples were still making great efforts to become stronger. During those 3 years, the Bahuang province had changed a lot. Many new outstanding cultivators were rising. Some people even talked about the new 10 strongest young cultivators of the new generation. Because apart from a few of the 10 strongest young cultivators from the previous generation who had died, the others were already cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. Several of them had disappeared for 3 years now, so if they came back, they would probably be monstrously strong. In the previous generation of monstrously strong geniuses, there was Lin Feng, sometimes called Mu Feng. He had killed many geniuses from Bahuang. There was the great oriental greenfinch rock whose speed was unparalleled, the mysterious Buddhist monk, Kong Ming from the Celestial Thunder Temple, Wen Tiange and Wen Ao Shui from the Wen clan, Si Kong Xiao from who had a mysterious celestial vision. Fu He was the one nobody really knew how strong he was. Yiren Lei the seductive woman, and so on. Now new geniuses were rising in Bahuang, for example Feng Ling from the Qi Feng mountain. It was said that she was even stronger than Feng Xian. Then there was Xia Yu from the Church of Desire. Xia Tianfan was a mysterious fighter, who could fight against cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. As of yet, he had never lost a battle. Qi Zong from the Qi clan was terrifying too. But the group in the Huangxi didn't know about these things. During those 3 years, many of them had obtained fate seeds, but many of them had died. Amongst the 100 people who entered, only half were left. Inside the ancient tree, Lin Feng was still punching the burning stones over and over again. The burning stone men had become smaller, but their cosmic energies were stronger than when he first entered. Break! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. He punched the air again, and another large burning stone broke apart. Lin Feng was breathing fast, but a fire's strength was visible as he exhaled. 2 years, whispered Lin Feng. During those 2 years, he had destroyed many stones while consuming exorbitant amounts of qi, empty space qi, fire qi and earth qi. Even though he didn't study it, his earth abstruse energy was already level 4. As Lin Feng became stronger, he was finding it easier to learn new abstruse energies. It was similar to when he had the strength of the Tianqi layer. As he became stronger, he understood intent faster too. Lin Feng was wondering, if someday, he broke through to the Huangqi layer, and became an emperor, while studying cosmic energies, would he start from level 1 abstruse energies or higher? Besides, after understanding level 9 abstruse energies, would he immediately understand cosmic energies? I haven't drunk or eaten anything in 2 years. All I've absorbed was empty space, fire, earth and life qi. No wonder I learnt earth abstruse energy during this time. That must be a special power that only I have though, whispered Lin Feng. After leaving, I'll definitely need to take a shower, thought Lin Feng. Even though practicing cultivation allowed cultivators to remain healthy, Lin Feng didn't appreciate greasy, dirty hair. Lin Feng's facial expression became sharp when he thought about the outside world. He looked around, thinking about leaving again. Bzzz. As if a stone sensed that Lin Feng was feeling unhappy, it threw itself towards him. However, Lin Feng didn't try to break it. He instead turned into an illusion. And not just one illusion, there were many Lin Feng illusions in the room. During those 2 years, Lin Feng's empty space and wind abstruse energies had become incredibly powerful. They were now both at the top of the 6th level, while his demon abstruse energy was at the top of the 7th level, and his life abstruse energy level 5. He had also broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer recently. He pierced through the ceiling stones and started digging a tunnel. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. His body was as sharp as a sword as he made his way through the earth. Boom! Gigantic burning stone men appeared which were several dozens of meters tall. Then they immediately threw themselves at Lin Feng. Slash, slash. Lin Feng joined together his hands and released sword energies. Then a gigantic sword appeared which was 100 meters long. There were no explosions as it fell. It simply cut the gigantic stone men to pieces. There were two lights which were becoming more and more dazzling the farther Lin Feng dug. Those were fate seeds. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook, and a gigantic stone man appeared again. If I don't break it, how long will I have to wait for this chance again? Thought Lin Feng. He turned into 10,000 illusions, and his sword lights became overwhelming. Then they pierced through the ocean of fire. Everything was filled with sword lights, and they weren't disappearing, because they contained immortal abstruse energy. In 2 years, Lin Feng had improved a lot in terms of demon, sword and agility cultivation. Now he always made his sword energy fuse together with immortal abstruse energy, which was level 5 now. Boom! The ground exploded as Lin Feng dived into the fire, turning himself into a sword. Lacerate! Lin Feng released more sword energy. The stones lost their energy, the flames weren't as strong, and the stones weren't as hard anymore. Lin Feng had taken the fate seed. I did it, thought Lin Feng. He had failed many times during the past 2 years, but now finally he had taken it. It meant that he could now resist the cosmic energies. Why can't I find the life fate seed? Thought Lin Feng, slowly rising up again. The scenery was spectacular, and his Tianji sword was whistling beside him. Lin Feng frowned. There was definitely a fate seed containing life cosmic energy, but he couldn't see it. It was probably up in the ceiling with the other seed. I need to take it, and with the empty space fate seed, that'd be 5 seeds in total, thought Lin Feng. After that, he continued digging into the ceiling. What a powerful strength, thought Lin Feng. He suddenly sensed a pain spread throughout his body. Crack marks even appeared in his armor. But now he was strong enough that he didn't need such an armor. His physical body was stronger than his armor. Lacerate, shouted Lin Feng. He moved like the wind, and finally managed to grab a dazzling golden fate seed. Directly after, buzzing sounds appeared, and Lin Feng realized that he had left the place. He was back in the battlefield. I'm out, thought Lin Feng. He was so happy and surprised. He was finally out after 2 years. Chapter 1432. Displaying one's talent. After Lin Feng came out, green lights were shining upon his body. Fate seed. Lin Feng stared at the tree. Initially, it contained the life fate seed, but it had appeared with the others. Did he want to help me? Thought Lin Feng, recalling the skeleton. Although he had been stuck in there for a long time, maybe the skeleton had taken him there to help him become stronger. But if the skeleton had taken him there, it also meant that he understood Lin Feng quite well. There were 4 types of cosmic energies there, so he must have known that Lin Feng knew so many different types of energies. Lin Feng rose up in the air and grabbed the fate seed from the tree. Then the green lights faded. Lin Feng put on another robe and slowly rose up in the air. He had been there for 3 years already. When would it be possible to leave that place? For Lin Feng, 3 years was a long time. He had been in the cultivation world for 10 years already. When he had first arrived in that world, he was young and weak, and now 10 years later, he was considered as an amazing cultivator inside of the Bahuang province. Bzzz. In the distance, some silhouettes started approaching. In the middle of them, Lin Feng noticed a beautiful woman, Lei. Apart from her, there were several of her fellow disciples. They had all broken through to the 8th Zunqi layer. Even though they weren't as beautiful as Lei, they were still drop-dead gorgeous. During those 3 years, Lei hadn't wasted any time either. She had also broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer. Lei was surprised to see Lin Feng, but then she smiled in a bewitching way. Then she recalled back when they used to make love. He's also broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, thought Lei. Lin Feng's cultivation level used to be quite low in the Bahuang province, but he still stood out. Now that he had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, how strong could he be? Prince Lin, said a girl next to Lei who was smiling thinly at Lin Feng. She was also trying to seduce him. What was that green light? Was it a fate seed? Indeed, said Lin Feng smiling. Some other people came over and looked at Lin Feng. Sisters, since Prince Lin already took it, let's go, said Lei smiling thinly. Even though those 2 girls wanted to attack, they still nodded. Last time they had seen Lin Feng, it was at the meeting of the emperors, and he had only broken through to the 3rd Zunqi layer then. Now that he had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, he was probably stronger than them at the 8th. Besides, Lin Feng had been nice to the Heavens of Desire's palace, so they didn't want to offend him. Celestial Girly Run, have you found any fate seeds? Asked Lin Feng. He felt weird talking like that, like he was being too formal. We need one more, said a girl next to Yiren Lei. If you were to agree, we could exchange something for one of your fate seeds. I'll give one to Yiren, what do you think? Asked Lin Feng smiling. The two girls next to Yiren Lei suddenly released a terrifying qi, as if Lin Feng was threatening them. It's all right, said Yiren Lei, preventing them from going any further. Yiren. Lin Feng took out a life fate seed and gave it to Yiren Lei. It contained thick and rich life energies. Yiren Lei's two fellow disciples looked at Lin Feng in a strange way. Why was that guy giving their fellow disciple a fate seed? Thank you, Prince Lin, said Yiren Lei. She took the fate seed, but Lin Feng grabbed her hand, forcing her to look at him. Even though all you care about is cultivation, don't forget about love, said Lin Feng, smiling before releasing her hand. Yiren Lei's two fellow disciples looked at her, and then back to Lin Feng. Was Lin Feng interested in Yiren Lei? Since you give our fellow disciple a fate seed, it must mean that you have more. You should give us some too, said 3 other people. Princes from the Ice and Snow Empire, said Yiren Lei to Lin Feng using telepathy. I still have a lot, but if you want them, you'll have to come and take them from me, said Lin Feng, rising up in the air and smiling indifferently. Those 3 people smiled coldly. A lot? Die, shouted one of them. Those people hadn't been to the shrine back when Lin Feng was in the Ice and Snow Empire, because they were already cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. 2 of them were cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer, and 1 of them of the 9th Zunqi layer. The one who threw himself at Lin Feng was one of the cultivators who had broken through to the 8th Zunqi layer. A cultivator of the 6th Zunqi layer dares face me. You must like to act recklessly, said that cultivator. A strong wind started blowing, and it was ice cold, piercingly cold even. Lin Feng's clothes were fluttering in the wind as the ice energies around him fell apart. Lin Feng released demonic qi, and his eyes became pitch black. He smiled and moved with the wind. He no longer feared cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer. Be careful, that cultivator is not weak, shouted the cultivator of the 9th Zunqi layer. Lin Feng's qi was powerful, more so than he was expecting. Die! The Prince of the Ice and Snow Empire moved faster and raised his fist. The air around him turned to ice. Lin Feng released a deadly demon punch, and it streaked across the sky, seemingly unstoppable. Boom! The cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer continued moving forwards, but his mouth twitched. He lowered his head and saw a fist inside his ribs. Then he was propelled very far away. Grr! The others were furious. A cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer had been defeated in one punch. It seems like the strength of the 6th Zunqi layer is enough to kill you, said Lin Feng indifferently. The others were surprised. Lin Feng punched again, and this time the cultivator's head exploded. Lin Feng's deadly demon punch now contained level 7 death abstruse energy, level 7 demon abstruse energy, desolate abstruse energy, and the force of the earth and sky. From 10 meters away, his attack was deadly. Chapter 1433. I want to kill a few people. Die, shouted the 2 other princes from the Ice and Snow Empire. Don't get close to him. Let me take care of this, said the cultivator of the 9th Zunqi layer, throwing himself at Lin Feng. He was still 100 meters away from Lin Feng as he threw out a punch. Bzzz. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered as he used his Xiao Yao agility technique. In a flash, he reappeared in dozens of different places. All of these illusions threw deadly demon punches at that cultivator of the 9th Zunqi layer. Condense, shouted that cultivator. His punches blocked a few of Lin Feng's deadly demon punches. His abstruse energy was level 9, which was enough to freeze Lin Feng's deadly demon punches solid. Boom boom boom. Lin Feng kept running around, but all his punches turned to ice. If it wasn't a life-and-death battle, it would have looked like a nice show. Die! The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer landed on the ground, and ice spread out in all directions. Even the earth and sky seemed like they were going to freeze over. Lin Feng smiled coldly and ignored his showy attack. Instead, he threw himself at the other prince. His pitch-black eyes contained a terrifying death qi, easily giving that cultivator the impression that he was going to die. "Be careful!" shouted the cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer. He knew how strong Lin Feng was. The cultivator of the 8th Zun Qi layer released terrifyingly cold energies as he invoked his blooded strength, his spirit, and a territory. But Lin Feng was still smiling coldly with those pitch-black eyes damaging his determination. "You can't defeat me." Lin Feng's voice resonated in his brain. For him, it seemed natural that he couldn't kill Lin Feng. "One word is enough for me to kill you," said Lin Feng. He was nearing him while releasing demon curse energies. The cultivator didn't even try to protect himself. "Die!" shouted Lin Feng. "No!" shouted the cultivator suddenly, but it was already too late. Lin Feng attacked with a deadly demon punch. "Explode that guy's head." "Die!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. The earth and sky around the remaining ice cultivator froze, but Lin Feng disappeared. The enemy's punch landed where Lin Feng was just standing. The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer released his spirit, a map of an ice world. Then an ice world appeared, resembling his spirit. In the world of cultivation, the higher a cultivator's cultivation level was, the stronger and the faster he was. That was logical, but abstruse energies allowed cultivators to overcome those principles. That cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer had focused on ice cultivation, so he was a bit slow. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 6th Zun Qi layer, but his wind abstruse energy was level 6, coupled with his Xiao Yao agility technique. He was extremely fast, faster than a cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer at least. Therefore, the cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer couldn't keep up with Lin Feng. "If you escape, I'll kill them then," said the prince, throwing himself at Yirun Lei and the girls. Lin Feng had given her a fate seed, so he was going to kill her and take it. "Escape? You think too highly of yourself," said Lin Feng. A demon illusion appeared behind him, and demon intent gushed out from it. Then 2 swords appeared in his hands. Lin Feng only feared cultivators who were one step away from becoming emperors and cultivators who had imperial weapons. That prince didn't have an imperial weapon. "You want to fight a cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer?" whispered Yirun Lei's fellow disciples, obviously surprised. When Lin Feng had only broken through to the 3rd Zun Qi layer, he already fought cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Now that he had broken through to the 6th Zun Qi layer, he wanted to fight against a cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer. Yirun Lei smiled in a resplendent way. When he had only broken through to the 2nd Zun Qi layer, he already fought against cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Apart from Yirun Lei, there were other people around who were watching. The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer looked at Lin Feng. He seemed surprised. Lin Feng's swords contained death qi. Amongst the other energies he was still condensing inside, including the force of the earth and sky. "Ice scroll lacerate!" shouted the cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer furiously. His spirit shook, and an icy lake moved towards Lin Feng. "Back!" shouted the crowd around them. That picture scroll would freeze everything in its way. Slash! Lin Feng released the sword he was holding in his left hand. A light lacerated the sky and pierced through the picture scroll. Then it continued moving forwards. "Die!" shouted the prince while releasing another ice attack. Slash slash. Lin Feng released his other sword and cut the ice attack into 2. He had condensed immortal energy in those swords, so they didn't break easily. Bzzz. The prince shivered and rose up in the air. He summoned his spirit again, and this time an iceberg crashed down. "Die!" Lin Feng's Tianji sword moved towards the prince this time. "Death!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. Death curse energies appeared and Lin Feng disappeared, reappearing higher up in the air. At the same time, he also released deadly demon punch attacks. The cultivator of the 9th Zun Qi layer pulled a long face. He also punched the air ahead of him to block Lin Feng's punch. However, Lin Feng's eyes turned pitch black at that moment, momentarily influencing his determination. That sword. Lin Feng condensed abstruse energies in his hands. Demon, death, fire, desolate and destructive abstruse energies. His attack looked perfect compared to before. Lacerate, said Lin Feng. He disappeared again as a deadly light descended from the sky. That light contained black threads. The prince looked petrified. He didn't move, or rather he couldn't move. Then a black thread got caught in his third eye. Some crackling sounded, and his body was vertically cut in two. Lin Feng was standing in the sky and he looked proud, calm and serene. He had just killed a cultivator of the 9th Zunqi layer with one sword attack. He killed him, thought the crowd. Lin Feng could now kill cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. There probably weren't many people who could compete with him in Ba Huang. How strong! The mouths of Yi Runlei's fellow disciples twitched. Lin Feng hadn't only defeated his opponents, he killed them. There was a huge smile on Yi Runlei's face. Piss off now, said Lin Feng, glancing at those who came to take his fate seeds. They immediately left. After they left, Lin Feng smiled as 2 fate seeds appeared in his hands. One could see the fate seeds from very far away in the distance. What are you doing? Asked Yi Ren's 2 fellow disciples. Prince Lin, what are you doing? Said Yi Runlei smiling. Was he showing his fate seeds to other people? I want to find some people to kill. They'll come if they see the fate seeds, said Lin Feng smiling back Yi Runlei. How cruel, thought Yi Runlei's fellow disciples. They were covered in a cold sweat just thinking about it. Chapter 1434. To wait idly for opportunities, sisters, let's get farther away, said Yi Runlei to her fellow disciples who nodded back to her. Lin Feng's sword and death energies could kill them if they stayed too close. Sister, Lin Feng likes you. Maybe you should make love with him. It'd help your desire cultivation, said one of Yi Runlei's fellow disciples smiling. Yi Runlei nodded and replied, I'll think about it. Her fellow disciple looked at her in a strange way and smiled. It seems like you like him too. Yi Runlei smiled and said nothing. The 2 dazzling lights became even more dazzling. One of them contained earth cosmic energy and held a golden color. In Lin Feng's other hand, there was a fate seed which contained nature cosmic energy and exuded green lights. Those lights should definitely attract people's attention, thought Yi Runlei. As expected, people rushed over, looking at Lin Feng in a greedy way. They wanted the fate seeds. However, the one who had taken out the fate seeds was Lin Feng, and he had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer now. Lin Feng stood in the air and said coldly, You have nothing to do here, just leave. The crowd was surprised. One of them, a cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer from the magic world Heavenly Palace, said, Lin Feng, did you take out those fate seeds just to attract everyone over? Do you want to trade them? If you do, what do you want in exchange? Piss off, said Lin Feng in a sharp way. He's so dumb. Who would want to exchange fate seeds? Whispered one of Yi Runlei's fellow disciples. Yi Runlei giggled. She had asked Lin Feng the same thing only a short while before. Even if some people really wanted to exchange fate seeds, apart from imperial weapons, what could they exchange for them? Bzzz. After some time, Lin Feng sensed a fist getting close to him from behind. It was a cultivator of the 8th Zunqi layer from Jiuyu. A cultivator of the 6th Zunqi layer had taken out fate seeds, so he had to die. Lin Feng shook his hand, and his Tianji sword lacerated the sky. At the same time, Lin Feng turned around and flew back, creating a sonic boom as they went. How reckless, said Lin Feng. His voice turned into demon-cursed strength, and he stared into his opponent's eyes. Earthen armor, shouted that cultivator. A mud armor appeared around him, and it seemed rather dense. Life drain, said Lin Feng. Then his opponent's eyes turned gray as his vitality was being drained quickly. Boom, boom! Terrifying threads of qi suddenly surrounded Lin Feng, as 3 more strong cultivators attacked him at the same time. Even though Lin Feng was strong, people couldn't help themselves from attacking him, for he had 2 fate seeds. If they obtained more fate seeds, they could exchange them for other fate seeds, which were more suitable for their cultivation type. That way, After reaching the top of the Zunqi layer, if they didn't understand their favorite type of energy, they would be able to borrow the cosmic strength from the fate seed. It was said that with the appropriate fate seed, a cultivator's chances of becoming stronger were multiplied by 3. It meant that with such a fate seed, they were more likely to become emperors. In the Bahuang province, opportunities to become emperors were too rare, and cultivators only had one chance every 100 years to get those fate seeds. During the meeting of the emperors, "Die," said Lin Feng, putting the fate seed he had in his right hand into his left hand. Then he released death strength, and his Tianji sword beheaded him. At the same time, Lin Feng condensed a sword in his right hand and jumped forwards with uncanny speed. Dazzling lights and blood mixed in the air as someone else died. He didn't even have time to shout. How fast, thought the two others. Wind and empty space abstruse energies, when mixed together, amplified speed to an astounding degree. Lin Feng's wind and empty space abstruse energies were each level 6. Lin Feng moved even faster, creating several illusions. The two enemies looked at them and couldn't tell which one was the real Lin Feng. Blood splashed. Another cultivator was killed, and even after dying he looked desperate. How had he been hit? He hadn't sensed anything. The other one looked hopeless too. An illusion moved towards him, and he attacked it, but then energies attacked him from behind and he died. Cultivators of the 8th Zunqi layer are now too weak for Lin Feng, thought Renlei. They couldn't withstand a single attack against Lin Feng. What the hell are you still doing here? Said Lin Feng to the others. They came back to their senses and left quickly. They knew they couldn't take his fate seeds. A moment before, when Lin Feng's illusions had appeared everywhere, he had actually used his shadow spirit to attack. After his spirit had been cleansed by the gate in Tiantai, his speed and spirit had become terrifying. He could release clones of himself and attack enemies, unknowingly from behind. Still not here. Lin Feng was waiting calmly. That way, he would continue to attract many people's attention. Bzzz. An animal appeared in the distance. He was moving extremely fast, like he was being carried by the wind. It was a bird of the 7th Zunqi layer. Lin Feng suddenly disappeared from where he was, and threw himself at the bird while condensing death chi in his eyes. He also took out his scepter. Death curse. Boom! The bird hadn't even arrived yet, but death and cursing energies surrounded his body. Then his dazzling golden body turned gray and dull. We'll see how hard your golden body is now. Lin Feng's scepter disappeared, and a sword containing death chi descended from the sky. As expected, the sword encountered some resistance, but it still pierced through like a knife cutting butter. He took the bird and stowed it away. The body of a bird of the 7th Zunqi layer was even more valuable than a holy weapon. Lin Feng had successfully cut through him, which meant that his sword could now lacerate medium-level holy weapons. After killing the bird, Lin Feng continued attracting people with fate seeds. He had only killed one bird so far. That still wasn't enough. Chapter 1435. Fighting against the Great Rock and the princes. What's going on? Thought some people who were in the distance. They had seen lights diffusing cosmic energies farther away from them. If someone had stolen some fate seeds, they usually put them away to prevent wandering eyes. A golden great oriental greenfinch rock glanced at a group of cultivators. Tianqi, Mu Bei and Li Hen. Tiantai's 10 other disciples had divided into 3 groups to protect each other in case of danger. But at that moment, they looked exhausted, especially Mu Bei, who was soaked in blood. He had almost been killed by his opponent's wings. Those 3 had become stronger during those 3 years. Tianqi now had the strength at the top of the 7th Zunqi layer, while Mu Bei and Li Hen had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer. Even so, the Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock was making things difficult for them. The Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock had also broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, and had a Taoist robe made of feathers plus an imperial weapon. He was astonishingly fast and could cut through almost anything. "I'll kill you later," said the Great Oriental Greenfinch Rock, before he suddenly left. He had seen lights in the distance, so he wanted to claim those fate seeds for himself. Bastard! Mu Bei invoked his blood strength, to start recovering his wounds. That bird has an imperial weapon, and with his speed, I would have died if we hadn't been together. Tianqi's golden energies slowly dispersed. He was upset as well. That imperial weapon was almost like cheating. He gazed into the distance and saw lights. If fate seeds hadn't appeared in the distance, the situation would have been dangerous for them. Brothers, should we go as well? Asked Li Hen. We already have 3 fate seeds, that's enough. We don't need to worry about our other disciples either, so Mu Bei should recover. Let's find a calm place, reasoned Tianqi calmly. Mu Bei's injuries were severe. So severe that his blood wasn't going to be enough to completely recover. All right. Li Hen nodded. At that moment, the 4 princes from Tianlong Divine Castle were still safe and sound. They hadn't separated once in those 3 years. They had imperial weapons to protect them, and in that time, they had become even stronger. The weakest one was the 6th prince who had broken through to the 7th Zunqi layer now. The 4th prince had the strength at the top of the 7th Zunqi layer, and the 2nd prince was at the top of the 8th Zunqi layer. The crown prince had the strength of the 9th Zunqi layer. Let's hurry up, they haven't disappeared yet, said the crown prince of Tianlong when he saw the 2 lights in the distance. The great oriental greenfinch rock and the princes of Tianlong Divine Castle weren't the only ones. Many others were rushing over. Lin Feng was still there waiting, glancing around at the dozen people who had appeared. Lin Feng! Shouted someone furiously. It was the great oriental greenfinch rock. He really wanted to kill Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had been hiding until now. 6th Zunqi layer. Let's see how powerful your cursing strength has become, said the great rock while flapping his wings. He then rose up in the air and released dazzling golden lights. If Lin Feng's cursing strength hadn't improved, then this time, he'd definitely die. Caw! The great oriental greenfinch rock cawed as he jettisoned ahead. However, at that moment, Lin Feng put away his fate seeds and rose up in the air, taking out his scepter and throwing himself at him. Death curse die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. Terrifying cursing strength moved towards the great oriental greenfinch rock and surrounded him. Die! Shouted the great oriental greenfinch rock. They were both extremely fast. If his wings reached Lin Feng, they'd slice him in 2. The great oriental greenfinch rock was stopped as that terrifying death chi surrounded him. He raised his head and saw Lin Feng towering above him. Quickly, the gigantic body of the great oriental greenfinch rock started turning gray. He turned around and flew downwards while sending his imperial weapon to attack Lin Feng. Die! Lin Feng's scepter turned into a gigantic, ancient tree which struck the bird's back. Lin Feng was only using his death-cursing energies because the bird's natural defenses were too great. Finally, the bird stopped attacking as his body was completely gray. Rumbling sounds and quaking arose as his gigantic body crashed onto the ground, leaving a gigantic crater. Lin Feng released more cursing energies, but the imperial weapon blocked it. Lin Feng was pissed off now. How could he kill that damned bird? How insane, thought the crowd. They shivered after they saw Lin Feng's attacks. Lin Feng had almost managed to curse the great oriental greenfinch rock. Lin Feng was holding his scepter in his left hand and a gigantic axe in his right. Lin Feng descended from the sky, and his axe crashed into the great oriental greenfinch rock. More rumbling sounds ensued as the great oriental greenfinch rock was propelled even deeper into the ground. Even though he's using an imperial weapon to protect himself, he's definitely injured, thought the crowd. What a hard shell, thought Lin Feng annoyed. It's you, shouted someone in the sky. It was Tianlong Divine Castle's princes. The crown prince immediately attacked, throwing himself at Lin Feng while releasing a terrifying strength. I've been waiting for you for a long time, said Lin Feng. He released terrifying amounts of demon energies and flew using wind and empty space energies. Boom! The crown prince crashed onto the great rock, making the bird cough up golden blood. He was still recovering because Lin Feng's chi had lost him half of his life. If he didn't have this distraction, Lin Feng would have killed him for sure. 6, be careful, shouted the crown prince who was also the fastest of the princes. He saw Lin Feng flying behind the 6th prince, Lin Feng had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer, so the 6th prince couldn't compete with him. The 6th prince knew that Lin Feng was extremely strong, but he still punched the air in his direction. Die! Lin Feng gazed at the 6th prince with his demonic eyes. Then death-cursing strength invaded through the 6th prince's eyes. At the same time, Lin Feng appeared in front of him while releasing sword energies. Blood splattered as Lin Feng cut the 6th prince in two. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.